What if it wasn't? The big guy's eyes widened, and he shouted in a serious tone, "Are you trying to scare me? Why did the people of the Lon clan come here? You want to kill an ordinary spirit beast. Is it true? Brat, I have eaten more salt than you have. Acting cool in front of me. Don't you know who I am?" The fat on the big bloke's body shook, and he quickly spread out like a wave. "You're right. If you say Lon clan, then it is Lon clan. Is Lousy still home? F***CK. Do you really take us for 3-year-olds? The deputy sect master is mighty, and you can tell at once that this kid is bragging." "Ha ha ha." The big guy smiled and said, "You want me to be more sensible? Now you better be smart and hand over the magic antler to me. Otherwise," his right arm suddenly exerted force, lifting Lanyo up into the air. The large man revealed a lewd smile and said, "Don't blame me for ruthlessly destroying your flower, crushing her head, and also letting my brothers enjoy her corpse. It's really rare to see such a beautiful girl like her. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." The surrounding gang members all burst out laughing. Lejo was furious. She stared at the big-sized man and shouted, "You are playing with fire to burn yourself." Lanya shivered, her lips turning purple, unable to make a sound. For a priest like her, she would be unable to defend against him once she got close to him, let alone a super warrior like Big Al. As he watched Lanya tremble and tremble, Lejo became even angrier. Clenching his fists tightly, his joints started to crack as he shouted heavily, "The gigantic sky deer's corpse is right there. There are no magic antler at all." The big guy sneered, "Do you think I'm an idiot? Can magic antler disappear from the top of their heads? Little bastard, don't play any tricks on me. Be more honest and take it out, or else she will die soon." The big guy didn't believe it at all, and in his heart, he was even more sure that these people weren't from powerful families or mercenary teams. Otherwise, why would they hunt for spirit beasts? And you're still not willing to take out the magic antler? The value of magic antler was much higher than human life. However, Lejo truly did not have a magic antler. If not, he would not hesitate at all. The 2 disciples beside him were also extremely anxious. If something really happened to Lanya, then they would not be able to live. But in this situation, they weren't a match for him at all. In addition to the serious injuries they had sustained, they were not their match. At this moment, Longfei suddenly took a step forward, took out the magic antler that had exploded outwards, and said, "Let go of her. This magic antler is yours." Longfei didn't have the time to check the magic antler's attributes. However, saving someone was near at hand, and he didn't have the time to care about that. Moreover, he had to clear this boss. Everyone was taken aback. Lejo's heart tightened. How did the magic antler get to him? Could it be that in the instant of one punch, he dug out the magic antler of Heavenly Deer? This speed is simply too unbelievable. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. You still dare to say that to me? You little bastards fooled Lousy. Even if I say you're still very young, you guys are still too young. The big-sized guy laughed out loud, looking at the magic antler in Longfei's hand. His face was filled with excitement. The fat on his body shook. Longfei said again, "Let go of her. The magic antler is yours." The big-sized man let go of Lanya and left him. He smiled. "I do things with integrity. I will release him and throw the thing over." Everyone was in a circle, so he didn't have to worry. Lejo quickly ran over to support Lanya and said while looking at Longfei, "You can't give the magic antler to him." The big bloke's eyes narrowed. Longfei laughed indifferently. "As a human, I will always be honest. Let them leave. Playing tricks with me? Kid, you better consider whether or not you are qualified." The big guy was obviously angry. Long Fei clenched his fist and said, "Do you believe that I won't pinch it into powder?" The big bloke's face sank as he shouted, "Let them go." Long Fei glanced at Leggio and said, "You guys go?" Leggio asked, "What about you?" Long Fei said, angrily, "You just need to leave, don't worry about me." Leggio supported Lanya out of the encirclement. The big-sized guy stared at Long Fei and laughed sinisterly. "Brat, you're dead meat." Long Fei said word by word, then said, "Wrong. The one who will die for sure is you." Chapter 16, 67. Completed filling of abnormal values. Chapter 1667. Completed filling of abnormal values. As soon as he finished, the deputy sect master shouted, "How dare a mere 3-star god saint be so impudent in front of me? I want to see just how capable you are. Men, kill him. Kill." The surrounding gang of heroes, disciples, all rushed forward. A 3-star god tier warrior was very weak. Facing so many gang of heroes disciples without any chance of winning, he was simply not their match. However, Long Fei did not leave. How could he leave? How could he not kill this boss? How could he not have so much experience? Right now, he needed a large amount of experience. No matter what kind of place the Devil Island was, as long as they were strong enough, as long as they had enough strength, there was nowhere for them to hide. He couldn't escape. It was just that he wasn't strong enough. Long Fei stood in place, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, as he gave a cold smile, like a god of death. "Bring it on. Let me see what a perverted level of spirit communication technique looks like." Long Fei was sinister and terrifying. The idea moved. Spirit communication technique. Virtual mirror. Open. Buzz. There was a muffled sound in the air, and in the world that Long Fei saw with his eyes, there were 10,000 spatial doors. As long as he moved his idea, he could instantly pass through them. As expected, this feeling was as if he could teleport and teleport. "Kill. Kid, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings today. Die." The gang of heroes' disciples rushed forward, all of their attacks striking Long Fei. However, just at this moment, Long Fei's figure disappeared from the spot. Bang, bang, bang. A burst of power boomed, and dust flew in all directions. Where is he? What about the dog? Where's that brat? Where did you go? I didn't see it. The big-sized man's eyes lit up. He could see everything clearly. Even the profound spirit chi on Long Fei disappeared in an instant. However, after this moment, crack! A disciple of the gang of heroes screamed as his entire person was dragged into the darkness. He screamed continuously, as if he was dragged by an evil spirit into hell. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo for obtaining 150 experience, 15 holy power value, 1 energy values. Over there. That's him. Everyone rushed forward again. At their moment, crack! Another person had been dragged into the darkness and killed in the blink of an eye. It was also in this instant that Long Fei's aura once again disappeared into the void. Now, Long Fei's virtual mirror was like a huge killing array. There was no way to dodge it. It was impossible to catch Long Fei's aura, let alone his figure. Terrible cries rang out. People continued to fall. Blood flowed everywhere, and corpses littered the ground. It was as if Rosen had gone to hell. Ghost, he's a ghost. He isn't human at all. Too terrifying. A chill rose from the depths of his heart as he began to tremble. They did not know who would be the next to die. This feeling was too terrifying. Long Fei was overjoyed. That's what I feel. After Heavenly Deer's spirit communication technique was amplified, it simply exploded out, continuously killing them. The number of disciples in the surrounding gang of heroes became fewer and fewer, but Long Fei did not stop. His target was the boss. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo for obtaining 150 experience, 15 holy power value, 1 energy values. Ding! System notification. Your metamorphic energy value has reached 100 points. It's your turn. Chapter 1668. See how hard you are. Chapter 1668. See how hard you are outside the mountain range. You two protect Lanya. I'll go back and help him. The more Lei Jiu thought about it, the more powerless he became. If they were to escape and let Long Fei face the gang of heroes alone, could he still be considered a man? Long Fei saved them. Yet they padded their butts and really left. What was this? The more he thought about it, the more upset he felt. Lanya grabbed Lei Jiu and said, "Ninth brother, don't go back. That person is probably..." That kind of situation, without even thinking, one could tell that Long Fei was in trouble. Lei Jiu gently removed Lanya's hand and said, "Even if he dies, I will still carry his corpse back. You two take her back first." Finished. Lei Jiu ran deeper into the mountains. No matter what, he owed Long Fei. If Long Fei died, he would use all the power he could muster to turn Gang of Heroes into ashes. Just when Lei Jiu ran into the deep mountains. "Let's go together." "Damn it, it's just a mere gang of heroes. Do you think I'm afraid of him? I'm going all out. We cannot lose face for Tianyin City." Suddenly, the two of them followed along, and Lanya chased after them. consecutive slashes for 100 people. The speed was unimaginably fast. Moreover, long phase movements were extremely strange. It was simply impossible to discern her. It was extremely terrifying. He had never seen this kind of cultivation technique before. Vice sect leader, there's no way to deal with him. Let's go. One of them ran up to the vice sect master and asked to retreat. If he didn't, all of them would die here. This was not a joke. However, not waiting for him to finish, the big guy broke the head of that lackey, then kicked his body and shouted, "Whoever dares to say that in front of me, your father will kill him." Just a mere 3-star God realm cultivator. Even if I have to use it up, I will use it up to kill him. He was unhappy. It was quite unpleasant. The big guy shouted in a deep voice, "Today, I will drink all your blood and swallow you up." Finished. Boom. With one step, the ground shook. With a body of 500 to 600 kilograms, he rushed towards Long Fei with a powerful body. Golden light radiated in all directions. Long Fei's expression slightly darkened and said, "I'm just afraid that you won't come." Shwa. Su Yun turned his body towards the void door and instantly landed behind the big-sized man. In his hand, he held the mountain-splitting knife that was on the body of Gang of Heroes and slashed down. At this moment, the big bloke grinned and said, "Humph, you're too slow." His body suddenly turned and a fist came flying toward him. Voila! The strong wind howled, and the fist wind seemed to pierce into his body. Long Fei's eyes changed, and he reacted with a movement of the idea. Dragon step! Shwa! His steps were like the wind, narrowly avoiding the punch. He was only a tiny bit away from being heavily hit by the big guy. If he didn't die, he would at least be half dead. In terms of strength, cultivation level, Long Fei was unable to fight against the big-sized man and could only use the virtual mirror to fight with him. Just like how a mage could not get close to the warrior, Long Fei had a lot of experience in this kind of battle. He dodged. Humph, I just want to see how many times you can dodge. The big-sized man sneered. Even though Long Fei's movements were strange, he did not care, as cultivation was everything. No matter how strong your movement technique is, it's only a cultivation technique. The big-sized man rushed towards Long Fei once again. Although his body seemed huge, his movement technique was very agile, and his reflexes were surprisingly fast. Shwa! Long Fei turned into the void door. The big bloke rolled his eyes from left to right, coldly shouting, "You dog, get out here! Get the hell out here! Let's see how long you can hide." Suddenly, the big bloke's footsteps shook. Bang! The moment his foot landed on the ground trembled. Just like a wrestler, his body slightly lowered, and a gigantic ball of flesh half-squatted on the ground. The action was very strange. However, the surrounding gang of heroes' lackeys all paled as they desperately retreated backwards. Aha! Ha! Aha! Ha! I'll let you see my earthquake technique. I want to see where else you can hide. The huge bloke laughed out wildly as he suddenly curled up his body, turning into a ball of flesh. The ball of flesh shot out. Boom! It bounced off into the air and exploded on the ground like a cannonball. A violent vibration spread out, and the surrounding trees immediately exploded. The rock turned into powder. Many of the Gang of Heroes warriors who did not manage to escape in time started bleeding from their orifices, and their bodies started bursting apart. Aha! Ha! Aha! Ha! Where else can you hide? Ha ha ha! He did not care about the life or death of his disciple. He was completely like a madman. His body crazily bounced up and down, and the air and the ground were filled with violent ripples of vibration. Long Fei's virtual mirror, tens of thousands of void door, also began to crack from the shock. Cracks appeared one after another. This was because Long Fei's holy power value was too weak and was unable to withstand the energy waves from the big-sized guy's earth shock technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the void doors shattered one after another, Long Fei hid within the flickering void door. His heart secretly tightened. Damn, if this goes on, all of the void door will be shattered. Broken one void door meant losing a protective barrier. This was quite disadvantageous for Long Fei. Shua. Long Fei stepped out of the void door. Grandson, Grandpa is here. The big-sized man glared at Long Fei furiously, and with a leap, he struck Long Fei accurately. Long Fei then disappeared, passing through a few void doors. At this moment, a few more void doors broke into pieces. He couldn't stop it at all. This meatball's elasticity was too abnormal. Furthermore, he could not feel any pain at all. Cultivating the earthquake technique had refined his skin and flesh to become extremely hard, just like a demon beast. This kind of impact would not hurt at all. Ha ha! Brat, come out! You pissed Lousy off. Lousy will grind you into mincemeat, the big guy said, savagely. Boom, boom, boom. Rumble. They exploded. He couldn't even block it. Is there any other way? Long Fei was secretly anxious. What kind of power can block him? Suddenly, Long Fei's heart sank. Death Planet. Yes, Titan King was not absorbed by the system furnace, and neither was the Star Book. Immediately, Long Fei shouted coldly, let's see just how powerful your body is, and how powerful you are compared to one of my planetary planes. Shua. Long Fei walked out from the void door, and the big-sized man instantly rushed towards him, grinning widely, ha ha, brat, give me your life. Long Fei moved his right hand, and a gobbledygook-esque book appeared in his hand. The moment the big guy crashed into him, a huge round ball fell down. The big guy disdainfully said, You can block me with a rock like that? Humph, let me show you my strength. He used all the strength in his body to strike it. Chapter 1669, Owatatuki Hagoromo Possession. Chapter 1669, Owatatuki Hagoromo Possession. Bam! Rumble! Buzz! Buzz! It was like hitting a giant piece of steel. Long Fei shouted, If you can break this, I really will call you Ichiwan Okazawa. Crack! Poochie! Ah! A blood-curdling scream rang out. The big bloke's body was curled up, his flesh constantly being squeezed and squeezed. His entire body had gone from a circular shape to a flat one. Teeth fell off. Half his face was red and swollen. He was in as much pain as he could get, and the amount of HP above his head had instantly decreased by more than half. This collision had really nearly taken his life. He flicked his body. The ball of meat loosened and returned to its original state. His mouth was full of blood, and he was extremely furious. Long Fei laughed. Let's go again, let's go again. Earthquake techniques are very powerful. The impact was strong, any stronger than his death planet. Although it was just a small ball, it was actually a dead star merged by Long Fei from a star book. Long Fei didn't know just how big it was, but he was certain that it was larger than any of the 100,000 planes the main temple controlled. It couldn't even compare to the ancient Holy Battlefield's plane. One could imagine how vast he was. How hard was its microcosm? The large piece of flesh bared its teeth in pain, rubbed its head, and stared at Long Fei with eyes that seemed to spew fire. You dog, don't get cocky, watch how I'll kill you. He was furious. In the distance, red light surrounded his body. What is that? The light of divine power also stopped. Long Fei was staring blankly at the sky. The bosses going berserk. They were all dumbfounded. The big guy shouted, "Isn't this too cool? Everyone forward!" At this moment, Luo Yuan did not had a feeling to disobey the order. He was the big guy was famous for his ruthlessness. This kind of feeling was very strong. If he got angry and allowed Long Fei to enter into this state, they all at the same time forward. He asked the big-sized guy, "What kind of plane is the Death Star that I fused and with?" said, "I don't believe that there really is some kind of powerful force inside." His body rolled again, turning into a top. I feel like quickly started to roll. Long Fei was startled. Fuck, isn't this supposed to be a dragon? Immediately, Long Fei's gaze darkened as he looked at the big man and his underlings on the ground and shouted out loudly, "If he did not hurry for me and kill you young, explode for me, he would die here." Buzz. Chapter 16 wore the void door, vibrating. In that instant, Long Fei appeared in midair, vibrating as the idea. It was unknown whether it was because Long Fei was currently cultivating his divine power infused into or the because the laws of the ancient holy battlefield burst forth and the plane of chaos realm were different. But where did he go? Long Fei's power the big man suddenly lost his target. He had a strong and shouted. It was aside from void doors on the ground. Like there were also doors in the sky, like that of the Oitsuki Hagoromo. In the sky, very special. The big size guy looked up to the sky. Long Fei didn't have the mind to care about his peculiarity. Hand. What he needed to do now was one thing. It was a scene. Explode. Moreover, with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters, the ball smashed into the ground as if it was Long Fei holding up the moon. Boom, boom. This scene, as the pressure was an incomparable shock. Those gang of heroes' disciples were too scared to move. Their bodies trembled, and they began to shout crazily, "Don't. Ah." The vice sect leader's eyes turned sinister as he completely ignored the others and ran out on his own. However, his speed was too slow. Boom. With a loud crash, the ground seemed to have flattened instantly. Crack, 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 crack. Asterisk, the sound of explosions could be heard from beneath the Death Star, as if a bunch of flies had been swatted to death. At this moment, the system's notification sound rang out crazily. Long Fei closed his eyes slightly, and with a smile, he said, "Come." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 150 experience points for defeating Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo. Holy power value, 10 points. Energy values, 1 point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 150 experience points for defeating Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo. Holy power value, 10 points. Energy values, 1 point. Ding. A special system beep sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Vice Sect Master of Gang of Heroes for obtaining 80,000 experience, 6,900 holy power value, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 6 divine pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Earthquake Technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Steel Armor Gloves. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. A series of notifications sounded. Earthquake Art. Armor Gloves. Long Fei thought for a moment. Then the idea moved and said, "Release your metamorphic energy value." Ding. System prompt, please choose. Earthquake Art. The steel armor gloves were of an average rank, but the earthquake art had left a deep impression on Long Fei. That kind of meatball style of bouncing around caused the earth to tremble, unable to withstand it at all. If he didn't have the star book, he really wouldn't be a match for this fatty. After making the choice, the metamorphic energy value quickly disappeared into 0. It was also at this time a surge of energy flowed into the seismic art. Long Fei thought, I have obtained another cultivation method at the great perfection stage. What will the great perfection level of the earthquake art be like? When the dragon step was infused with metamorphic energy value, it became a perfect stage, and its pace became as swift as a ghost's. The technique of spirit communication also turned into virtual mirror. The metamorphic energy value is really awesome. What realm can one's earthquake technique evolve to this time? It paused for a few seconds. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining vibrating fruit. Do you wish to consume it? Huh. What? Long Fei's eyes went blank. He did not know how to react. What? What fruit? Quickly opened the system. When he saw the demon fruit that was floating in his mind, Long Fei smiled. His smile was very perverted, and he had an extremely wretched look on his face. Oh my God, this is taking my life. I thought metamorphic energy value could only help cultivation techniques to improve proficiency. Who would have thought that it could even change? Isn't this too awesome? It was hard to imagine. Long Fei had never thought that it would be possible to be this powerful as a cultivation technique could directly evolve into a demon fruit. I like perverts. Ha ha ha. And then Long Fei moved and said, "Swallow." How could the shaking fruit of the white beard not be eaten? How could he let go of the power that tore through space and ravaged the earth? Ding! The shaking fruit has been devoured. Long Fei's cultivation method column had an additional skill. Shaking the fruit, the power of earthquake. Ha ha ha! Awesome! What a great explosion, what a great change. Long Fei couldn't help but laugh. At this moment, the Death Star slowly disappeared. A huge crater appeared on the ground. Blood and flesh were mixed in the crater, and it was all crushed into meat paste. At this moment, Leggio had arrived just in time. Looking at the corpses and the surroundings, the blood shot out explosively from the broken limbs. The entire scene was like a purgatory in the human world. It was extremely terrifying. Leggio looked at Long Fei, who was standing not far away. He was like the god of death that controlled purgatory. His entire body was covered in blood, and his eyes were cold and sinister. It was intimidating at first glance, just like a born powerhouse. Awesome. God, he really is a god. Leggio was unable to control the excitement in his heart. He really wanted to kneel and kowtow towards Long Fei. Too fierce. Long Fei was startled when he saw Leggio and the rest return. He immediately withdrew his bloodthirsty look and asked, "Why have you guys come back?" He glanced at Lanya. Long Fei took out the magic antler and threw it over, saying, "This is for you." It was obvious that Lanya needed this magic antler. Lanya received it with one hand and was immediately moved. Magic antler were worth 10,000 divine spirit pills. And furthermore, the key point was that the magic antler of the gigantic heavenly deer tribe had a useful property that was useless to other magic antler. It could cure a disease, a very strange disease. She had to find these magic antler to save her father. At this moment, Leggio immediately knelt down on one knee and said, "Great God, thank you." Lanya's face was also filled with excitement, as he also knelt down on one knee and said excitedly, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." He could not help but tear up. Long Fei waved his hand and said, "It's just a magic antler. It's not like it's anything good. Take it." He really didn't mind. He did not even look at the magic antler's attributes, much less know its value. If he knew, then he wouldn't be so generous. A great god is a great god. Truly awesome. Leggio was even more respectful. Not to mention his Lei family. Even the Lan clan wouldn't dare to just gift this kind of magic antler. He could tell from Long Fei's eyes that he did not take Long Fei seriously. This was too awesome. With a 3-star cultivation, he had crushed the gang of Heroes' vice sect leader and over 100 of his lackeys. If word of this got out, no one would believe it. Leggio walked up and said, "Great God, Can you tell me your name? She was extremely careful, as if she was afraid that she would make Long Fei unhappy. Long Fei said, My name is Long Fei. Lei Ju muttered, Long Fei? I seem to have heard of this name somewhere. It was a bit familiar, but I can't remember where I heard it. He must have heard it somewhere. It seemed like it came from the mouth of his Lei family's patriarch. What is it? Chapter 16, 71, Nameless Valley. Chapter 16, 71. Nameless Valley Lei Jiu did not like to think. He would never think too much about things that he could not come up with. Lei Jiu did not think too much about it and said, My name is Lei Jiu. The two of them are Mount Tai, the two brothers Tai Hai, and she is Lanya. The Lei, Tai, and Lon clan families were extremely powerful in the Devil Island. It could be said that they were existences that not a single person was unaware of. However, there were no ripples at all in Long Fei's eyes. Lei Jiu was shocked yet again, as he thought to himself, Great God looks to be about the same age as us. It is impossible that he has never heard of the three great clans, but there isn't the slightest hint of shock in his eyes. Or is it a more powerful force? Mt Tai, the two Tai Hai brothers, also felt the same way. The three great families were extremely huge in the 10 cities of the Devil Island, and very few people did not know about them. But Long Fei did not care about it. This made them worship Long Fei even more. If they knew that Long Fei didn't know what the three great families were talking about, and they wondered what he would think. If he didn't know, of course he wouldn't be shocked. Lei Jiu said, Great God, are you here to gain experience? Long Fei said, You can say that. Lei Jiu thought, as expected, he must be a genius disciple from a big sect, and only a genius disciple can defeat the vice sect master of Gang of Heroes at a cultivation level of 3 stars. Long Fei asked, You came for the spirit beasts? Lei Jiu nodded. Amen, I came specifically for this gigantic heavenly deer. If it wasn't for your help, I'm afraid we would have. Right. Lei Jiu asked again, Great God, where are you planning to go next? Long Fei said, Continue with the trial. Find a place with many demon beasts for the trial. His current level was not high enough. He had to get stronger, and if he did not make good use of the metamorphic energy value, then it would truly be a waste. Li Ru Chao was still waiting for him at Yama City. Since it was something he had promised, Long Fei would definitely do it. Lei Jiu stared blankly for a moment, then said, Great God, I know of a place with a lot of demon beasts. I can lead the way for you, but can you let me follow by your side? Just be a small fry. Will you? His eyes were pitiful. It was as if it was afraid that Long Fei would disagree. Long Fei replied, I'm not some great god. I should be a bit older than you. If you don't mind, just call me Big Bro. As for bringing you along, Lei Jiu immediately said, Brother Fei, I know how to do everything. I'm good at holding water, splitting firewood, cooking, and washing clothes. Mt Tai, Tai Hai, and Lanya all looked at Lei Jiu with stupefied expressions. Lei Jiu could be considered a young master of Lei Jiu. How could he do all these? Then I've really seen a ghost. Long Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, Then follow me and us. Mt Tai and Tai Hai immediately took a step forward and said, We are also proficient in carrying water, splitting firewood, cooking, and washing clothes. Brother Fei, please take us along as well. Lanya said in a low voice, Can't you all have a bit of integrity? Tarzan replied, A moral integrity? Can you eat the moral integrity? The strength that Long Fei displayed was just too strong. In their hearts, they believed that Long Fei definitely came from some kind of powerful sect, so they would definitely not be at a disadvantage if they followed him. Of course, in their hearts, they also greatly admired Long Fei. He was also their savior. At this time, his moral integrity had long been thrown into the chrysanthemum. Long Fei looked at their sincere faces and could not help but laugh bitterly. Didn't you guys say you were looking for Magic Antler to save people? Right now, you should return as soon as possible after the Magic Antler has been obtained. Lei Jiu replied, "That's not a problem." And then Lei Jiu took out a bird that was emitting a bright light from his spatial bag. Lanya handed the Magic Antler over, and Lei Jiu injected it into the little bird's body. Soon after, the little bird swallowed the Magic Antler into its stomach, and after flapping its wings a few times, it flew back into the air. Lei Jiu said, "Done." This was the first time Long Fei had seen such a thing, just like a carrier pigeon. However, it was much stronger than a carrier pigeon. Seeing Long Fei's shocked expression, Lei Jiu said, "This is a spirit bird unique to our 3 great families. It can help us pass down things. So tomorrow, the Magic Antler will be in Uncle Lan's hands. Don't worry. This kind of thing isn't bad." Long Fei said softly, "If it was placed on Earth, the entire courier staff would probably lose their jobs." Lei Jiu said, "Brother Fei, those are just small toys. I'll send you off when I return to the Lei family." Long Fei said, "Then it's a deal. Of course I want something good. Air." Lei Jiu replied, "Of course, of course. Let's go. Lead the way to a place with dense demon beast." Long Fei said, For hours later. "What did you say? The deputy sect master is dead?" On the side of the cliff behind Gang of Heroes, a man with an incomparably gigantic body sat on the ground. His pupils were as constricted as a cobra's as he shouted, "Truly useless things! You can't even catch a few little kids." Humph! And then a gust of wind directly grabbed that disciple and threw him into his mouth. He began to chew, and fresh blood flowed out from between his teeth. As he chewed, he said, "You can come out." Buzz. A mysterious figure wearing a cloak appeared out of thin air. He spoke with a low and deep voice that carried a tone of reproach. "You failed." Yu Wanxiong swallowed the meat he was chewing and said, "I don't want to do it either, but the information you gave me was not complete. Even if you said 4 people, it was clearly 5 people." The mysterious man coldly said, "Are you trying to find a reason for your defeat?" His voice was so cold that it made one's hair stand on end. Yu Wanxiong's Adam's apple rolled a little as he said, "I will personally take action the next time. I will definitely not give them the slightest opportunity." Humph! It's best if you do. Otherwise, there's no need for you to live in this world." The mysterious man said with killing intent, after which he vanished. It was impossible to see how he disappeared. Yu Wanxiong exhaled a long breath. Damned Lon Clan! He knew exactly who the mysterious man was. What kind of power was behind him? He could not afford to offend him. And then Yu Wanxiong's voice sunk as he heavily shouted, "Find them for me." His voice echoed throughout the entire Gang of Heroes. And then the entire Gang of Heroes was out. 2 days later. "Brother Fei, it's here." "This is a nameless valley. We were lured out from here before. There were a lot of demon beasts in this valley." Lei Jiu pointed to the valley in front of them and said, "This valley is somewhat special. Logically speaking, demon beasts should kill each other upon meeting each other, but they didn't kill each other. Instead, they were all guarding this valley." Lanya said, "Could it be some kind of treasure?" Tai Hai laughed and said, "Even if there was a world spirit treasure, it would not appear in Devil Island, which is a land of gods. There would definitely not be any world spirit treasure appearing." Long Fei, who was from a combat faction, said, "Go in and take a look." Chapter 1672, Blood Essence Breaking Array. Chapter 1672, Blood Essence Breaking Array, Devil Island, Forsaken God Nation. Compared to other places, the divine essence here was thinner, and the land was barren. The people here would perish on their own. There was no law. This was a God's place to deal with trash. No one could leave this place, let alone escape from this place. This sort of place. There would be no miracles. Therefore, it was impossible for a spiritual treasure to appear here no matter what, because it was impossible. A Long Fei's group of 5 stepped into the valley. The moment they stepped into the valley, a low roar sounded out. A green, gigantic tiger walked out of the forest, its 2 eyes staring at Long Fei with hostility. Low roars came out of its throat, as though it was driving Long Fei away. It didn't attack. It just stayed there. Very strange. Was there a demon beast that wouldn't attack when it saw a human? Leggio said in a low voice. Brother Fei, it's very strange, right? This guy is guarding there. Long Fei thought. Seems like there really is something special in this valley. Attack. As soon as Long Fei finished his sentence, Leggio reacted in the blink of an eye as he took a heavy step forward and activated the heavy armor on his body. The cyan-eyed tiger opened its bloody mouth and roared towards the sky. Its long fangs were 30 centimeters long, and the green tiger hair on its body seemed to double in size. It looked even more terrifying. Roar. The tiger's roar was like thunder. The sound wave attack. Leggio's reaction was not slow. His body shrank, and the fist in his hand smashed down even more. The 3 of them blocked Green Tiger's attack at the same time, and in an instant, Long Fei and Tai Hai attacked together. Bam! The staff in Lanya's hand moved. They had no idea how Long Fei had appeared. An array of light enveloped Leggio's body. When Green Tiger had appeared behind them. When he wanted to turn around and rush towards Long Fei, rang out. His figure disappeared from where he stood. Green Tiger retreated, and the instant Leggio grabbed his entire body, the attacks of the 3 people came crashing down heavily. My HP was reduced by less than 10%, and I entered berserk mode. Long Fei was confused. Green Tiger, according to common sense. Ding. Demon Congratulations to the death when it was in berserk Long Fei for killing Green Tiger for when it was just 1200 experience. But for Green Tiger to enter berserk mode energy values, it could only mean one thing. He was desperately trying to protect also reminded the things inside the valley. Is indeed a little special. He did not hesitate to pay with his life. Everyone must be careful. Be careful. This guy is going berserk. Brother Fei, why don't I go inside to scout? As he said, no way. Faintly, Long Fei immediately denied and said, attack. It's too dangerous. Understood. Suddenly, Leggio's heavy armor shook. A rumble came from the depths surrounded him immediately. As if a force had struck Long Fei moved the entire valley suddenly shook. Spirit communication the demon beast in the valley were also crawling on the ground in a flash as they let out low door activated fear, and its body drilled into the void, disappearing without a trace. Wow, Lanya was startled. Maybe there really is a spiritual treasure the spirit arts of heavenly. Did we get lucky? Boom. The Devil Island is actually able to produce a heavenly soul treasure. The 4 of them were overjoyed. This phenomenon was a little similar to when a heavenly soul treasure was unearthed, but Long Fei had a bad premonition and felt that something was going to happen. However, now that he was here, even if something bad happened, he had to get to the bottom of it. And then Long Fei said, while these demon beasts do not dare to move, we will quickly enter the valley. Remember, the situation is not right. Immediately move to the back. Do not hesitate at all. With that said, Long Fei led the way and ran deeper into the valley. Leggio stood to the side to protect Long Fei. Lanya was in the middle, while Mt. Tai and Tai Hai were behind. Boom, boom, boom. The frequency of the tremors became stronger and stronger. The violent tremors in the valley were like iron hammers pounding against the core of the earth. It was also at this time the disciples of the gang of heroes quickly gathered. Inform the sect leader they have entered Death Valley. Then aren't they courting death? Hurry up and inform them. Aha! Ha. Kids, let's see where you can escape to this time. Yu Wanxiong let out a sinister and terrifying laugh. His huge body shook for a moment before he immediately shot out, disappearing from his original position in an instant. Within the valley, Long Fei and the other three couldn't stand straight, but when they reached the deepest part of the valley, they realized that there was nothing there. No cave. Brother Fei, what's going on? Lei Jiu asked anxiously. The tremors continued, but they couldn't find a place. Long Fei looked at the rocks around him and thought to himself, there's no reason. The tremors came from underground. There must be caves nearby. Or, should we say? Long Fei looked at the ground beneath his feet as he punched the ground with all his strength. Buzz! A halo of light shot out. Long Fei's strength was very weak, and it was only a light halo of light. There's a seal formation here. After being attacked by Long Fei's power, the roars underground became even louder, the energy on the ground moving and extending outwards. What a powerful strength! What kind of power is this? Rumble! With the formation as the center, streams of power surged outwards from the ground. At this moment, the 10,000 beasts roared, and the entire valley began to shake violently. Brother Fei, what should we do? Long Fei's thoughts flew. He shouted out, everyone use your strength. Let's see if you can destroy the formation. The 5 of them exerted force. They hit the ground together. The light on the ground rippled, and the formation became even clearer. It's not enough. Use more strength. The 5 players punched again. At this moment, a drop of blood dripped down from Long Fei's fist onto the array formation. Long Fei himself did not realize this, but at the moment the blood droplet made contact with the array formation. Rumble! Red light soared to the sky from the center of the formation. He broke the array. Chapter 1673, Demon Sword. Chapter 1673, Demon Sword. Red light shot into the sky. It was like a beam of light exploding in the sky. Next, the surface of the rune array quickly crumbled, while the moving force underground exploded upon contact with the surface of the ground. In less than half a minute, the entire valley was covered in spiderweb-like cracks. Long Fei and the other 3, who were at the center of the array, felt the power that came from the ground, which was incomparably intense. Be careful! Long Fei reminded her. A loud explosion suddenly sounded from the center of the formation, and the formation pierced through the ground like a bamboo shoot. A sword. Half of his body was exposed. The other half of the sword was buried under the ground. Streaks of blood-red light slowly emerged from the ground. It's a sword! Lei Jiu was shocked. He immediately became excited. I never thought that there would really be a heaven and earth spirit treasure. Is this even the first time in the history of the Devil Island? This sword gave people a special kind of magic. It was as if he couldn't pull it out just by looking at it. At this moment, Titai walked up, excitement evident in his eyes. He staggered like a zombie and grabbed onto the hilt of his sword. Long Fei's mind tensed up and shouted out, "Don't take it!" However, it was already too late. The 8-man grabbed the hilt of his sword, and with a shudder of red light, his eyes turned bloodshot. He was keenly aware of the feeling the power of being within his body was being absorbed. It was as if the world had crazy rate, and his entire being was going crazy, unable to control his own body. If Long Fei had not cut off his arm, you will die. He would have been completely controlled by the devil's sword. Tai trembled in pain. Defensive power. Cold sweat pouring down his forehead. Could reach him. It was instantly crushed, while causing Lanya to be bounced back as well. And asked, Lei Jiu bellowed, "What do we do?" The sword rapidly wrapped itself around half of sinister Ty's arm, staring frantically, absorbing its power. At this moment, in the blink of an eye, his hands were covered in two sections of thin wisps without the slightest bit of flesh or blood remaining, resembling blood-colored worms that had grown on the hilt of his sword, terrifying to the extreme, entangling his hands. At this time, a voice continuously resounded inside Longfei's mind. Extremely savage. Come on, come on. Longfei's heart sank slightly as he said, Chapter 1674, MT Tai is controlled by the devil's sword. He has already lost all sense of reason. Unconvinced, immediately, violent attack. Longfei took out the sword from Tai Hai's body. It was like a red light. With a step, dark street, he slashed towards as he walked past. The girls inside kept shouting at him. Tarzan, little brother, let out a shrill cry. Come in after his arm was cut off. Big sister will make you comfortable. He quickly fell to the ground. That voice was eyes full returned to normal as he looked at his arm that was completely wrapped in blood. Longfei clenched his fists away from the ground. His fingernails digging into the flesh of his palms. The piercing pain engulfing his entire body as and using the sharp pain to burst his consciousness out. He did not dare to look at the sword again. Quickly shouted, do not look at it. This demon sword was not it is an ordinary demon sword. It can control a person's mind. Its mana was so strong. Be careful. It was terrifying and irresistible. Moreover, once he steps forward to catch it, his body will immediately become entangled and become a part of the demon sword or the executioner of the demon sword, turning him into a homicidal maniac. Or it was directly sucked into the skeleton frame by the demon sword. Lei Jiu said, Brother Fei, this is a godly sword. Why are we giving it up just like that? Do you want your life or your sword? Long Fei said, he also wanted it, but to control the demon sword, he needed to have the ability. He must not act rashly until he had thought of a countermeasure. He had no choice. The five quickly retreated and stood 10 meters away. Various tempting voices continuously resounded in the minds of the five people. Come, I will allow you to climb to the peak of this world. I will let you be free from all constraints. Lei Jiu, didn't you want to marry Lanya as your wife? Didn't Lan Clan look down on you? As long as you listen to me, I guarantee that no one will dare to stop you. Lanya, didn't you want to save your father? Come, become my slave. I guarantee that no one will dare to touch your father. Tai Hai, do you want the people from the Tai family to look up to you? If you become my slave, I will make them all kneel before you. All sorts of tempting voices could be heard. His mind was lost. Long Fei shouted heavily, Don't listen to its nonsense. Cold sweat covered their foreheads as if they were about to fall. Their minds were the same, slowly falling to the ground. Lei Jiu said, Brother Fei, we can't hold on any longer. Brother Fei, please kill me. Kill me. I can't hold on any longer. Suddenly, Tai Hai's eyes turned sinister. He was no longer able to control his mind. His mind was already being controlled by the devil aura coming out from the devil's sword. It was extremely uncomfortable. He stared blankly at the demon sword in the distance. His body was like that of 1,000,000,000,000 ants tearing at each other. His mind was urging him to go and get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. This voice continued to ring. Tai Hai shouted. He was about to go crazy. At the same time, he also rushed towards that demon sword. Long Fei moved a step. A palm landed on the back of his head, directly knocking him out, and shouted, Lei Jiu, bring them out of the valley. Faster. Lei Jiu supported Tai Hai and said, Brother Fei, what about you? Long Fei stared at the devil's sword and said, I want to kill him. Lei Jiu was startled. Long Fei shouted again, Get out quickly. This demon sword was very strong. Its demonic nature was too strong. The stronger it was, the stronger it would be. If he could control it, it would become a superpower. To Long Fei, he could not miss out on any power. Lei Jiu brought the three of them and quickly withdrew. Only Long Fei was left at the edge of the array. Humph! Long Fei exhaled heavily, stared at the devil's sword, and said, "Come, let me see how strong your magic is." Bam! He took a step forward. Landing beside the devil's sword, Long Fei unhesitatingly grabbed it with one hand. In that instant, those long and thin blood veins on the devil's sword appeared once again, coiled around Long Fei's back, and stabbed into his flesh. Long Fei roared, "Come then!" Boom! A roar! His mind ignored the enticement and control of the demon's sword and entered the unique space of the demon's sword through the bloodstrings. At this moment, 1,000,000 corpses were lying in wait, and blood flowed like a river. The sky was blood red. The earth was blood red. His surroundings were filled with a violent killing intent. It was extremely dense. What kind of world is this? Long Fei's heart trembled slightly when he leveled up to the point where he could kill countless number of people. He could kill as many demon beasts as he could. But the people he could kill in this world, those demon beasts, were simply nothing compared to the people he could kill here. Aha! Aha! I didn't expect you to be able to enter this place. Kid, your blood is different from others' blood. No wonder he was able to break seal. An arrogant voice sounded. A red blood mist appeared in front of Long Fei's consciousness. It was the demon sword's sword intent, the sword intent that had rushed out. Long Fei said coldly, "You are the devil's sword." The demon sword gave a faint smile and said, "That's right. I am the demon sword's sword intent, condensed from 9,999,999 lives. How is it? You're hanging yourself, aren't you?" Ha ha ha. What a pity. It's a pity that my previous master didn't understand how strong I was. If I had my seal here, if I had a little more time, I could have broken through to 10 million. Ha ha. I can become the #1 sword of the demonic path. However, don't worry about it. I've waited for over 1,000,000 years, and now I have. Are you honored? It was you who made me become the #1 sword of the demonic path. The demon sword's sword intent was wild with excitement. 10 million. Life. This number was too terrifying. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. The #1 sword of the demonic way. Today, you either have faith in me, or I will turn you into ashes. Ha ha ha. The moment Long Fei's voice fell, the demon sword's sword intent started laughing wildly and said, "No one dares to speak to me like that, not even my previous master. He can only destroy me using the seal, but you want me to turn into dust? Humph, you really overestimate yourself." His voice was as cold as ice. At this moment, Long Fei's idea had always been inside the devil's sword, and his body, as well as his flesh, was already covered in dense amounts of blood veins, completely wrapping them around his body. It was as if his entire body was drenched in blood. The infernal sword sneered, "Do you know that you are about to die?" Long Fei laughed. "Don't worry, even if you die first." Suddenly, Long Fei moved. Buzz, with a gobbledygook in his right hand, a huge dead star fell on his left hand, falling into the space within the devil's sword, and continued to grow larger. Marks that looked like commas appeared on Long Fei's neck one after another. His heart trembled slightly. Damn, could it really be the power of the Oatatuki Hagoromo? Who the hell cares what kind of power it is? As long as I can kill you. Long Fei roared out. The Death Star in his hand suddenly suppressed down. The power in his body exploded out. "If you don't accept it, we will beat you until you accept it." Chapter 1675, Killing Mode. Chapter 1675, Killing Mode Savage. I'm even more brutal than you. Enlargement stroke immediately appeared out of nowhere. Moreover, whether it was in the special space or the real world, Long Fei's big move was just as fierce. Every time he released it, Long Fei felt the Death Star's power becoming even stronger. This time, the strange thing was that there were 9 runes on it. Could it be? Are there 9 big-tailed beasts on this dead star? Amongst the stars on the star book, Long Fei had fused with the farthest star on it. According to the astronomical common sense on Earth, it was the largest star in the entire book. Even Long Fei himself was unable to explain just what kind of star had fused with the limitless galaxy and the billions of stars. The appearance of the system itself was a BUG. Killing monsters and leveling up killing monsters was itself a BUG. Long Fei's teleportation was the biggest bug. It wasn't impossible for Long Fei to fuse with some kind of plane created by the Oatatuki Hagoromo, and there was nothing that was impossible within the system. An extremely powerful force was unleashed. Rumble! The entire space of the demon's sword began to tremble violently and unceasingly shattered. Long Fei looked down from above and said coldly like a king, "If you want to suck my body dry, then I'll make your world completely collapse. I'll see how you still manage to become the #1 sword of the devil Tao. I'm afraid the lowest in the demonic path is about the same." The infernal sword was unable to block it. Moreover, it was too late for him to blast Long Fei's idea out of his space at this time. The enormous energy crazily crushed his world, and this was a power he had never seen before. Terrifying anomaly! The demon sword intent bellowed. "Both of us will take a step back. I will let you go, and you can leave this place." Everyone has taken a step back now. Too late. Long Fei did not stop at all, and said, "Right now, you only have one choice, to become my slave forever." The demon sword intent flew into a rage as it shouted, "Kid, you think you're worthy?" He. "I'm not worthy, am I? Then let's see if I'm worthy or not." Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger. The pressure from the Death Star became even stronger and started to frantically crush everything. The demon sword space was almost unable to hold on any longer. Crack! Crack! The devil's sword had waited for millions of years, and the day he had finally obtained the breaking through the seal. However, he never would have thought that he would meet a madman like Long Fei. They actually wanted to die together with him. He didn't want to die. After being trapped in the seal for millions of years, he had yet to even think about dying, and now he even more so didn't want to die. Demon Sword said, "All right, I promise you." That's the tone. Long Fei sneered. His strength did not decrease, and he continued to crush. Demon Sword's body trembled. He was so angry that smoke was about to come out from his head. He said angrily, "What exactly do you want? You are my slave, I am your master, and you speak to your master in this tone? Are you really convinced?" Long Fei shouted. The infernal sword truly regretted it. "I am too regretful that I allowed Long Fei to enter his domain of power. Too irritable. If not for that, he would have sucked Long Fei dry a long time ago." He had no choice. Demon Sword forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart and said respectfully, "Master, I was wrong. Please forgive me." Not sincere enough. Long Fei deliberately made things difficult. The demon sword was really angry as it shouted, "Brat, what do you want to do?" He was going crazy. If this space crumbled, then his sword would shatter. Then the ruthlessness and killing intent from killing 9,999,999 people would disappear. These were the cultivation bases that he had cultivated. If they disappeared, and he doesn't exist, Long Fei laughed. "I've said it clearly, I'm not sincere enough." "Ah." With a furious roar, the demon sword knelt on the ground and said, "I'm sorry, but I don't dare to do it again. Is that enough?" "It's a bit far-fetched." Long Fei continued. The devil's sword was about to be driven mad by Long Fei, but he really had no way at all right now, and said, I was wrong. I was wrong. Master, I was wrong. The entire Death Star was about to burst his face. He would die instantly. At this moment, Long Fei slightly said, Titan King, how's your new home? Titan King slightly said, That's right, just right. Sure. Then from now on, you will be here. Long Fei moved his idea S, and the remnant soul of the Titan King, and the body of the Titan King directly entered the Devil Sword space. Demon Sword was stunned for a moment. F*CK. He had never seen such a tyrannical body. Who was this person? This body was brimming with power that he had never felt before. The Titans did not even exist on 100,000 planes, so naturally the Devil Sword had never felt them before. The remnant soul of the Titan King stared at the Demon Sword and said, Be obedient, or else, do you know what happens next? As soon as he finished, Titan King suddenly moved, the divine anchor shook, and the entire space of the Devil's Sword trembled. This was the power that restricted the Demon Sword. Long Fei's current cultivation was only at the 3-star realm, and was basically unable to suppress him. He couldn't possibly be constantly in the space within the Devil's Sword, right? It would be best to use the Titan King to suppress the Devil's Sword. This time, the Infernal Sword had completely given up. He was so desperate that he wanted to die. He was still thinking about how Long Fei would disappear from his Devil's Sword domain, how he would kill Long Fei immediately. But this move of Long Fei's had completely cut off all his delusions of trying to escape from Long Fei's grasp. Too despicable. The Infernal Sword roared. Long Fei laughed. To deal with people like you, it's natural to use a special method. Just obediently follow me. I guarantee that you will become the number 1 sword of the Devil Dao. Huff. The Demon Sword let out a long sigh. He could be considered to have completely given up on this idea. Long Fei laughed. It was also at this time. The system suddenly sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for subdued Devil Sword. Would you like to learn the special reward killing sword technique? Before Long Fei could practice the murderous swordplay, the system rang out again. Ding. Congratulations to the players for activating Slaughter Mode. Ding. Do you want to activate it? Activate. The Metamorphose system still had many unknown domains that had yet to be activated. This bloodthirsty mode was only one of them, but Long Fei was slightly taken aback. What's Concealment Mode? System. Murderous Mode description. Duration of 3 minutes. Description 2. Entering a bloodthirsty state. Description 3. Crazed Killer. Description 4. Strength. Speed multiplied by several times. Defense multiplied by several times. It was a type of Berserk system mode. Once Long Fei was activated, he would become like a Berserk demon beast, sinking into a Berserk state. Awesome. This mode is working together with the virtual mirror. No one can stop it. Long Fei laughed excitedly. At this moment, outside the valley, Yu Wanxiong crushed Lei Jiu and the other 3 on the ground, coldly looked at the valley and said, Little bastard, you're the only one left. Chapter 1676, Controlling Monster Army. Chapter 1676, Controlling Monster Army outside the valley. The great army pressed down on the land. Many disciples of the Gang of Heroes were hiding in secret, forming a sack as they waited for Long Fei to come out from the valley. Sect Master, that Lord wants the lives of these 4 men. That boy is probably already dead inside. Why should we wait? One of the lackeys said. Yu Wanxiong grinned and laughed. I'll give him another life. Only then will we be generous. As soon as he finished, Yu Wanxiong's voice was instantly as cold as ice. Her gaze waited for the subordinate who had spoken and said, That kid killed so many people and even killed the deputy sect master. If we don't find back this time, then how will my gang of heroes stand on top of the Devil Island? We must kill. He couldn't swallow his anger. He really slapped Gang of Heroes' face too hard. Kid, you're still not coming out, right? Yu Wanxiong's eyes were cold as he said, Pass down my order. Enter the valley. Sect Master. This is the Death Valley. The people who went and did not come out alive. Not waiting for him to finish. Yu Wanxiong directly crushed his head and coldly said, Don't you understand what I'm saying? Enter the valley. He must get back the Vice Sect Master after his death. Within the valley, Long Fei held the devil's sword in his hand and tried to feel it. The thick killing intent continued to grow, unending. It made Long Fei feel that the killing intent on his body had become violent and filled with a ruthless aura, as if he was about to go berserk at any moment. Killing style. Killing technique. This demon sword is really something good. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart. At this moment, roar, roar. Waves of demon beasts looking at the demon sword out from the valley. He thought and to stared himself, at Long Fei. From the looks of it, at first, these demon beasts did not dare to come close to this place. But now that the array had been broken, to be exact, and the force that was binding them had come into contact with it, all enslaved by this demon sword out and brought to the valley. Every one of them were incomparably vicious demon beasts. All right then. Although they did not cultivate magic antler, they were difficult to deal with if they were to rush into the demon beasts that were all over the mountains demon beast and around him, and Long Fei stood in place without moving. How much experience would it take to kill all these? Slightly, and the devil's sword in his hand flickered with a red light. The explosive punch demon sword released from the condensed heads as if it was a vampire that had sucked fresh blood in an instant, becoming excited. It was a true killing sword. Was extremely threatening. Demon surrounding demon beast. Kill them all, and stopped in front of Long Fei. They were originally left here at this to be moment, killed by me. Suddenly, hurry up and kill them all. Of a demon beast fell the smell to its knees. Immediately after, just calm down. All the demon beasts that were walking down from the two sides of the valley kneeled on the ground, as if they were submitting to Long Fei. These demon beasts did not touch him. Long Fei and had even knelt in front of him as a sign of admiration. These demon beasts were his people. He couldn't just make a move on his own people, right? The demon sword grinned, expressing his displeasure. They are demon beasts. They are all beasts born to be killed. Dying in my hands is their supreme honor. The demon sword was bloodthirsty. He had his own way of thinking, and his way of thinking was simple and crude. Kill. However, his mind could not control Long Fei's thoughts. The demon beast that was kneeling beside Long Fei acted as if it understood his words and was grateful to him. In its eyes, there was an extra bit of respect for Long Fei. At this moment, roar. From the distance, the roar of a demon beast could be heard. Next, the surrounding demon beast all suddenly stood up and looked towards the outside of the valley. Long Fei's eyes were also startled. Lei Jiu and the rest are back again? Just when Long Fei thought it was Lei Jiu, a voice came out from the entrance of the valley. Brother Fei, run! Lei Jiu, something has happened. Long Fei's heart tensed up. He immediately thought of Gang of Heroes. Damn it! If I don't go looking for you, you should come looking for me first. Sensing the rage on Long Fei's body, the surrounding demon beast all released low roars. Long Fei's eyes trembled. All demons heed my command. The surrounding demon beast immediately froze. All of them looked at Long Fei in unison, just like a row of warrior. The last time he killed the Gang of Heroes' vice sect leader, there would definitely be more people coming from there. Long Fei's holy power value was not very plentiful right now. If they were to fight head-on, they probably wouldn't be a match for him. However, but now, these monster army were different. Immediately, Long Fei immediately issued an order. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Remember, if you perform well today, then you will be free to do so. From today onwards, you will no longer be controlled by the demon sword. Long Fei said lightly, retreat quickly, wait for my order. He did not lead the monster army outside. Long Fei wanted to know how many people came from the gang of heroes. The demon beast quickly retreated to the two sides of the valley and hid. The other demon beast in the valley also quickly retreated. Ha ha ha. I thought Death Valley was nothing special, but it's just a bunch of trash demon beast. Brothers, charge for me. Avenge the vice sect master. When the demon beast left, the disciples of the gang of heroes quickly pressed in. 10 minutes later, just into the depths of the valley, Long Fei stood where he was with the devil's sword in his hand and his long white hair fluttering about wantonly, adding the killing intent released by the devil's sword. Long Fei looked as if he had turned into a devil lord. That's him. That's the kid. The disciples of Gang of Heroes surrounded Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes swept across the crowd. There are a lot of people here. At this moment, blood trickled from the corner of Lei Jiu's mouth as he was held captive by a few disciples. He shouted at Long Fei, "Brother Fei, run quickly!" Yu Wanxiong swept away the disciples who were blocking him, then sat down on the ground with his bottom and slapped Lei Jiu in the face. He shouted coldly, "You better behave and wait for me." Then he stared at Long Fei, who was in the encirclement. His eyes became angry, and without saying a word, he shouted, "Kill!" Long Fei was startled, then laughed. "Boss." Chapter 1677. One Punch on the Boss. Chapter 1677. One punch on the boss. The glittering boss was like a stimulant to Long Fei. When he saw the boss, Long Fei was extremely excited, and the golden light emitted by the boss, Yu Wanxiong, was much more dazzling than the deputy sect masters. The items dropped would definitely be much better. Kill them all. Yu Wanxiong was not as long-winded as Luo Li and coldly glanced at Long Fei. 3-star? Just this kind of person can kill the deputy sect master. It can only be said that my deputy sect master grew up eating shit. Useless thing. More and more contempt. Being defeated by Long Fei was even more shameful. The disciples of the Gang of Heroes took out their weapons and quickly rushed forward. Kill. Brat, you're dead for sure. Kill. With hundreds of people surrounding him, it was hard for Long Fei to escape death. Lei Jiu shouted loudly, "Brother Fei, run! Brother Fei, let's go! Yu Wanxiong, if you dare kill him, my Qianquan Thunder family will not let you go." Lei Jiu shouted loudly. He had brought Long Fei here, and if Long Fei died, he would blame himself for his entire life. The Qianquan Lightning family? Wow, you nearly scared me to the point of peeing, but you think you can live? First him, then you, all of you will die. Yu Wanxiong excitedly laughed out loud. His eyes stared straight at Lanya and said, "Little girl's meat is very tender. I'll eat you first later." I've never eaten such a delicate woman. Yu Wanxiong drooled. Lanya's body trembled. His face was pale from fright. At this time, Long Fei said lightly, "Hey." Her gaze turned towards Yu Wanxiong. Yu Wanxiong's eyes turned, stared at Long Fei, and said, "What? Should I pass on my last words?" Long Fei said, "Yes, I want you to pass down your last words, because you're going to die soon." "Am I going to die?" Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Yu Wanxiong laughed loudly. Was a true powerhouse. He could easily defeat anyone with a cultivation of 3-star. Long Fei, it was not enough. Long Fei said indifferently, "Are you done laughing?" Yu Wanxiong's eyes stared wide open as he shouted, "You ignorant fool, die for me." Before he could even finish the word dead, Long Fei's right fist moved, and his gaze locked onto Yu Wanxiong as he shouted out lightly, "Blasting fist!" Buzz. A special power burst out from Long Fei's body. No matter who you are, no matter what powerhouse you are, once the explosive punch is unleashed, there will only be one result: Instant kill. Boom. Long Fei punched out. There was nothing special about this punch. It was like a very ordinary punch. Yu Wanxiong sneered. You overestimate yourself. His enormous body shook as a strong wave of energy shot out from his body. His right arm moved and sent a slap towards his opponent. Die. Boom. A huge palm came crashing down from the sky. Shrouding the sky and covering the sun, it instantly sealed all of Long Fei's attack routes. Adding on the huge aura on Yu Wanxiong's body, this punch of Long Fei's was basically useless. It would only turn him into a live target and get ruthlessly ravaged by Yu Wanxiong. Brother Fei, Lei Jiu shouted loudly. Many of the Gang of Heroes' disciples started laughing. We're dead meat. This is the sect leader's great grief palm art. Whoever is hit by, it will definitely die. This kid is overestimating himself. To think that a 3-star Esper would dare to go head-to-head with the sect leader. He's really in a hurry to reincarnate. That's right. Under the pressure of the gigantic palm, Long Fei's body sank. He couldn't take it. However, Long Fei did not give up. He drew the bow and did not turn back. Since he had released the blasting fist, it must definitely explode. Dragon Step. Boom. Releasing the Dragon Step of the complete spell, Long Fei's body suddenly changed. He moved slightly in midair, directly charging towards the enormous palm and punching it with his fist. Ha ha ha. He is actually going to receive my great grief palm. Idiot. Yu Wanxiong sneered, and the power in his palm became even stronger. But right at this moment, the instant the two forces clashed, the power of the grief palm on his palm seemed to have instantly ruptured. Long Fei's fist directly smashed into the center of his palm. Bam! At this moment, the power of the exploding god was released. Crash! Long Fei's fist had penetrated Yu Wanxiong's palm, causing his flesh to burst and blood to spurt out crazily. Yu Wanxiong cried out in pain. Ah, ah. Impossible, impossible. Kid, you cannot break through the power of my great grief palm. Although the pain was unbearable. However, Yu Wanxiong's reaction was not slow at all. With a flip of his left hand, he chopped down once again. Die! This palm was even sharper. His strength became even stronger. However, Long Fei stood in place without moving. A smile hung at the corner of his mouth, and he said indifferently, "Explode for me." It was very calm. The 8 winds did not move, nor did they panic. He didn't even look at the huge palm above his head. He was incredibly calm. What is he doing? Has he gone mad? Why is there no reaction at all? Lei Jiu and the others did not move as well, and broke out in a cold sweat for Long Fei. Just when Yu Wanxiong's left hand was still a few centimeters away from Long Fei, a strong gust of wind had already came crashing down heavily. At this moment, wow! Yu Wanxiong's eyes were wide opened, his pupils were constricting, and he was unable to control himself from spitting out a mouthful of blood. Bang, bang, bang. His right arm constantly exploded. In the blink of an eye, his entire arm exploded, and his flesh was the same as well. His internal organs were all exploding, and black blood was spurting out from his body. He could not control it at all. What was going on? The amount of health that he had left quickly bottomed out. He was going to be killed in an instant. Under the blasting fist, not a single blade of grass grew. With a heavy punch, no matter how strong your defense was, you would still be killed by the blasting fist. This was the blasting fist that Long Fei had fused with everything the Chaos Realm gave him. It was a complete mess. Boom. Ah! Yu Wanxiong screamed miserably. He could not take it any longer, and his huge body split apart as blood spurted out onto the ground. It was also at this time Long Fei was secretly surprised. This is bad. The metamorphic energy value is not enough. Damn. F***CK. I suffered a huge loss this time. Long Fei had forgotten about metamorphic energy value. This was a boss. How could it be wasted? Swish, 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 swish. Long Fei was extremely vexed. My metamorphic energy value. Damn you. It's all your fault for making Lousy unhappy, or else I'd have given you a few more seconds to live. Now, Whitey has wasted a boss just like that. Long Fei secretly complained in his heart. How can this be? Because metamorphic energy value is really so abnormal that you can't even imagine it. Sigh. He heaved a long sigh in his heart as the system beeped. Ding. Chapter 1678. Losing something. Chapter 1678. Losing something. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yuan Xiong for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy power value points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Great Grief Palm. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10,000 Ghost Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 30 Divine Spirit Pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10 gold bills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 blue panacea. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 4-star God. The system beep frantically sounded, looking at the object that had exploded. Long Fei felt a lot of bitterness in his heart. Since even the Great Sorrow Palm has exploded, if I could use my metamorphic energy value to evolve, I would definitely feel so good that it would explode. Why is it like this? Why can't I just endure for a little while? Long Fei was very, very unhappy. He looked annoyed. However, everyone around was shocked, silly. 1-punch kill. Furthermore, after throwing that punch, Long Fei was surprisingly confident. He did not even bother looking at the attack on top of his head. He was completely confident. The gang of heroes' disciples reacted. Too strong. Looking at the exploded sect leader's bloody flesh on the ground, the admiration in his heart was like an unending torrent of water. Out of the valley. His entire gang of heroes was felt like it was a motley crowd. Brother they were all unforgivable villains. You're exploding once the sky. Yuan Xiong died. Lanya also all of them would instantly collapse in disbelief. Furthermore, never seen the power Long Fei displayed in the hearts of the 4 of them. So Long Fei's status was definitely extremely trying to run. He was definitely a genius Long Fei was currently in a rage. In the Devil was because Island. He did not have the metamorphic energy value was to miss out the reborn body of a certain great powerhouse. How could he let these people go? It had to be known that when many powerhouses moved a little and ran out of longevity, Monster they would condense and preserve their own energy before going through a cycle of reincarnation. Don't kill them with your bite. And being reborn as soon as Long Fei finished his sentence, this kind of rebirther, the demon beast on both sides of the valley came crashing down like a mad tide, as long as they released blocking the entrance of the valley first. They would be able to reach the peak of their strength in a very short period of time. He was going to unleash all of his beastly nature. It was impossible to kill you. They were incomparably savage God realm expert with a cultivation level that was extremely his right hand held onto the demon's sword. It was definitely not something that could be crossed on a lower plane. One level after another. Chapter 1679. Even if you had an extremely strong Chapter 1679, your cultivation technique would still be hard to pass. Not to mention instantly jumping a level 5 to kill from within the valley. This was even more impossible. There was only one did not let anyone go. These people were monsters reborn to him, body of experience, almighty in just half an hour. Slowly, all of the hundreds of gang of heroes' disciples had been killed. The killing intent released by the demon sword, adding on the fact that Long Fei was a cultivator of the killing thought. He truly looked like a devil lord had descended. So fierce. Lei Jiu's eyes burned with passion. He was now Long Fei's brainless fan, and everything that Long Fei had displayed seemed to have captivated him. Lanya said slightly, "It's also good to be cruel." What's there to be cruel about? If it weren't for Brother Fei, we would all have died here. Tai Hai said, but we don't have any grudges with the Gang of Heroes S, and also, they seem to know our identities. Just based on our family's influence alone, a mere gang of heroes wouldn't dare to provoke us. But why did they send us to our deaths? I don't understand. The reason why the four of them had formed a party to train and explore was so that they could find the gigantic Heaven Deer magic antler. Their trip this time was very secretive, so not many people knew about it. How could he be chased by the Gang of Heroes? It was the same when they were hunting the gigantic heavenly deer. The Gang of Heroes' vice sect leader just happened to be there. Too many coincidences. Don't kill me. My lord, don't kill me. It's all because of you, Wan Xiong. It's all because of him colluding with the people of Lan Clan. We are innocent. A disciple whose thigh had been bitten off begged for mercy with a trembling voice, his face filled with pain. You, Wan Xiong, colluded with the Lan Clan? Long Fei immediately thought of Lanya. It should be because of her. Immediately, the sword slashed down. All the Gang of Heroes disciples in the valley had also been killed cleanly. Long Fei walked back to the valley. He did not mention the matter of you, Wan Xiong, colluding with the Lan Clan. These matters had nothing to do with him, and he was too lazy to worry about it. Brother Fei, too awesome. Lei Ju went up to welcome him with incomparable excitement. At MT Tai, Tai Hai walked up with a face full of excitement. At this time, the demon beast in the valley slowly gathered together. Many of them were injured in the battle just now, and this was also because Long Fei had given them an order not to kill. The leading demon beast looked at Long Fei. Her eyes were filled with anticipation. They yearned for freedom. Long Fei said, "Just now you did a good job. From now on, you are free to go." And then Long Fei moved and said, "Remove the suppression on them." The demon sword said, "They are a pretty good battle force to your current cultivation. Are you sure you want to let them go? They are just a bunch of animals." "Why would you need to keep your promise to them? Let go." Long Fei did not hesitate. Be it to man or to man, to demon beast, men should keep their word. Monster Army went all out in the battle just now. He could tell they yearned for freedom so much that even if there was a chance, they would not let it go. In their eyes, humans were cunning and insidious, and humans could not be relied on at all. However, they still believed without hesitation. The infernal sword did not say anything as he muttered, "I reminded you out of good intentions." Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei shouted once again, "Release them!" A wave of aura was released from the demon sword space, and rays of light shot out from the demon sword, landing on the densely packed demon beasts' bodies in the valley. Roar! Woo-woo! Roar! The 10,000 beasts roared. As they regained their freedom, they couldn't help but let out excited roars. Long Fei looked at the demon beast in the lead and said, "All right, you are free to go." Having fought with him before, that was a brother. Humans and beasts were the same. Long Fei would never play with his own brothers. The demon beast looked at Long Fei with grateful eyes, walked to Long Fei's side, and lightly nudged Long Fei's leg, then turned and left. 10,000 beasts followed closely behind, and in a few moments they disappeared, returning to the forest. Demon beast roars continuously sounded out from within the forest, as if they were announcing their return. The moment they all disappeared, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward for the liberation of 10,000 beasts. Huh. Long Fei was inwardly surprised. He did not think that releasing these demon beasts would actually bring about a reward. He asked what rewards. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the title of King of 10,000 beasts. Just a title? Rob. System, can't you be more magnanimous? What's the use of having a fake name? Longface said with disdain, but inwardly he was secretly pleased with himself. The title of the king of 10,000 beasts was very grand. When he saw the benefits brought by the title of king of 10,000 beasts, Longface's eyes darkened. My darling, this is incredible. So this title of king of 10,000 beasts is actually so awesome? Order 10,000 beasts. A beast king. The title of king of 10,000 beasts had the ability to command all beasts, sending out a sound wave. It could summon any beast that could fight within 100 miles. That was awesome. Not bad, Longface thought. Luckily, I didn't listen to the demon sword. Otherwise, I would have suffered a huge loss. If he did not release these demon beasts, Longface would not be able to get the title of king of 10,000 beasts, much less possess such power. Brother Fay. Just as Longface was in a daze, Leggio called out a few times. Longface came back to his senses and asked, "What's wrong?" Leggio said, "Brother Fay, you are the reincarnation of a certain almighty powerhouse." Longface asked, "Why do you ask?" Leggio said, "Only the reincarnation of an almighty powerhouse would be so powerful. You were able to tame the devil sword, control 10,000 beasts, and even kill Yuanxiong with a single punch. I really can't think of anyone with a cultivation of 3 stars. Longface smiled faintly and said, "Have you ever seen an almighty powerhouse choose a place like Devil Island after reincarnating?" As soon as he finished, Leggio sank into deep thought and muttered, "That's right, the Devil Island is a place abandoned by the gods, who would reincarnate and come to this place. Here, I'll never get out." Hearing the last sentence, Longface's fists could not help but tighten, and he said, "Can Devil Island really not walk out?" Leggio nodded his head. "No one has ever left the Devil Island." "Not a single one?" Longface asked seriously. Leggio replied, "Not a single one." Humph! Longface's mind tensed up, and he cursed in his heart, "Damned destiny god! Your father will control your ancestors." He came to ancient holy battlefield to change the rules, not to be trapped to death on a huge island. Not to mention, how is Xianyuan Li Air now? Longface knew nothing. Longface frowned and said, "Is there no other way?" Leggio replied, "There's no way at all. A land of despair, self-destruction." Chapter 1680, Flower Catch. Chapter 1680, Flower Catch asked Li Ruchao. He could not walk out of the Devil Island. If he asked Leggio and the others now, the result would still be the same. No. Was there really no other way? He really couldn't get out. Inadvertently, Longface's fists tensed up even more as he said faintly, "There is no such thing as an absolute thing in this world. As long as we do it, as long as we work hard, I believe that anything is possible." As long as he worked hard and persevered, he might fail. However, if you didn't work hard and didn't go, that would be impossible. You would definitely fail. Longface did not accept his fate. He also did not believe that he would not be able to leave the Devil Island. Since they were both in the same plane, it was impossible for him to not be able to leave this place. Even if the endless ocean could not be traversed, the reward would be another aircraft carrier, and he would not be able to walk out. His loved ones had all fallen. The brothers fell. Longface was so depressed that he felt like dying. At that time, he had already stood up, so what else could he do to beat him? Fearless heart. Leggio looked at the expression in Longface's eyes. That gaze that was deeper than the ocean made his heart tremble, and he muttered to himself, "Anything is possible." His eyes could not help but look at Lanya. This was the love in his heart. There was a moment of silence. Longface looked at Leggio and asked, Have you ever thought about why you are being chased by the gang of heroes? Tai Hai immediately said, We don't know the reason either. It's very strange. We didn't provoke the gang of heroes, and just based on the power of us three great clans, who would dare to provoke us, maybe it was the deputy sect master who killed him last time that caused you Wanxiong to lose a lot of face. Tarzan's thoughts were simpler. Long Fei glanced at Lanya and said, Could it be that there is a problem within your family? Now, the matter is resolved. Your heavenly dear magic antler has been obtained too. Hurry and go back. Lei Jiu immediately asked, Brother Fei, then where are you going? Long Fei looked outside the valley and said, I plan to make a trip back to the Yama city. His cultivation base wasn't absolutely strong right now, but he should be able to deal with the Knights of Darkness Guild with the Seism fruit, killing techniques, and the killing sword technique along with the virtual mirror. Then again, he wanted to find a way to leave the Devil Island. There was no way to leave the mountain range. He had to leave this place as soon as possible to find Xianyuan Lier, enter the battlefield, and find a way to change the order of the ancient code. Yama City? Lei Jiu was startled and asked, What happened after that? He really wanted to follow Long Fei. Long Fei shook his head and said, I haven't thought it through properly yet. Lei Jiu immediately said, Brother Fei, we happen to pass through the Yama City as well. Let us go with you. Long Fei shrugged and said, Since it's along the way, then let's go together. The five of them left the valley. A figure landed. He had seen everything that had happened in the valley. A pair of cold eyes behind the black cloak stared at the direction that Long Fei and the others disappeared in. How dare you meddle in other people's business? I want you to take the risk. Yama City, right? Wait. A cold voice. In the blink of an eye, the black shadow disappeared. Yama City. When he heard about how he was forced to retreat in front of so many people when he was fighting with Li Ruchao last time, he felt extremely displeased. The Black Knight mercenary group felt even more humiliated. Inside Li Ruchao's courtyard, Li Ruchao was unable to get up from the ground. His face was pale white. He was on the verge of death, looking at the entrance of the courtyard, his fists tightly clenched as he smashed onto the ground. Sister. Li Ruhua was taken away. Chapter 1681, Displeasure. Chapter 1681, Displeasure, Yama City. It's been a long time since I've been here. I still remember coming here once when I was young. It's really changed now. As Tarzan entered the city, there was no change in their eyes. Although the Yama City was the first city on the Devil Island, however, its overall strength was the lowest. Compared to the cities controlled by the three great families, the Yama Cities were not even worth mentioning. 9. I remember that the Lei family still has businesses here, right? Asked Tarzan. Leijio rolled his eyes at Mtitai and said, "Don't you have an estate here too?" Speaking of the Yama City's businesses, I'm afraid that they are the most powerful in the entire Lawn clan. They control the Divine Arms Shop, that is like the Yama City, and have even signed a contract with the Mercenary Guild. Any divine weapons provided by the Mercenary Guild are all made by the Lawn clan, and it can be said that the Lawn clan has a monopoly on the weapons market of the Yama City. Tai-Hai spoke slowly. The strongest power amongst the Lawn clan's three master glanced at Long the 10 cities on Devil Island all these days everyone is here to buy spirit pellets. The first generation countryside bumpkin like you want to buy spirit pellets relied on his superior forging techniques that you want to cultivate. So the weapons produced as soon as he finished were very famous. Many customers in the store began to laugh and did not refute him. The truth was the same. The weapons of the Lawn clan wants to cultivate were first class. Don't you know who you are? Long Fei walked not into just a medicine shop in the city. He was still worried about Li when the hedonistic young master saw after leaving for half a month, all laughing he did not know how his injuries were. He became even more pleased. He did not and cultivate the alchemy technique, the medicinal pellets and holy battlefield. So he could not help him refine people pills. Like you can't afford he them. Could only buy it. I have a solution. Seeing Long Fei walking into the one spirit potion shop, the four of them hurriedly followed him. The shop assistant immediately revealed an excited expression, looked at the signboard, looked at Long Fei, and said, "Ninth brother, I'll bring it over for you. This is the property of your Lei clan." It was also at this time. Get me a pill to treat my just happened to hear these words. It has when to be walked into the shop of the best quality. In that instant, Long Fei walked into the shop, surged out as he took one of the servants forward, looked up at Long slapping him across the face, and in an instant his eyes became incomparably loud. And he said, foppish young lord was instantly slapped to the ground. Do you know what the price is? He spat out a large mouthful of blood from his front could be seen in his eyes. He looked extremely Long Fei's plain and simple clothes, coupled with the fact young that master was momentarily during this period of time, words, made him emit he was not a terrible stench. With a fierce gaze, he looked like a country bumpkin. Who the hell are you? A country bumpkin. You dare hit this daddy. Still had a friendly face, as he said, not waiting for him. Just finish some. Leijio slapped him yet again. Rich, how much money do you have? I am your ancestor. The shop assistant was not moved. How dare you be powerless that Long Fei could not afford to buy any spirit dawn from the shop. Do you believe that I will kill all 18 generations any time on ancestors again either? Leijio glared at the hedonistic young opened the door to do business. Just take powerful aura at this time crushing down from his body. The hedonistic young master slapped himself twice as he became extremely angry. Do you know who I am? If you dare to attack me, you're dead today. Just as Leijio was about to attack, a middle-aged man came down from above in a hurry. He stared at Leijio and shouted, "Stop." When the young lord saw the middle-aged man, he immediately grew excited and crawled over to him. "Uncle Chen, take revenge for me and cripple this man." Chun Zhong glanced at Leijio and coldly shouted, "Causing trouble at Spirit's attic? I think you all are courting death." Leijio was enraged and wanted to attack. Long Fei stopped him and said faintly, "We don't want to cause trouble. I only want to buy a medicinal pellet." The shop assistant immediately said, "Shopkeeper, this kid wants to buy the highest grade of healing pills. Can he afford it with his poor appearance? They must be here to cause trouble." Chun Zhong glanced at Long Fei. Indeed, he thought so too. In order to do business, he had to learn how to observe. He also climbed up to the shopkeeper's position from a shop assistant, relying on his two clairvoyant eyes. In his eyes, Long Fei was the latter. Chun Zhong sneered and said, "Brat, You think you can buy the highest grade of pellets? Why don't you take a piss and see what you look like? Long Fei's eyes turned cold and said, What do I look like? Chen Zhong laughed disdainfully. I have seen this kind of person many times. Don't even think that you can afford to buy spirits addicts pills for the rest of your life. Before he could finish, Lei Jiu suddenly rushed forward. You dog eyes look down on people. Pa! Another heavy slap landed on his face. Chen Zhong never thought that Lei Jiu would still dare to make a move. Not only was he not fast enough to react, he had even slapped himself in the face. He was also instantly enraged. Chen Zhong shouted, You dog of a bastard! How dare you attack me? I want you to come in vertically and walk out horizontally. Someone come. Capture them. The Popinjay young master had a proud smile on his face as he said, A group of bumpkins. Don't you know where this place is? You'll all kneel down and beg for forgiveness soon. As soon as Chen Zhong finished his sentence, 8 guards immediately rushed out from the back door. They surrounded Lei Jiu and Long Fei. Chen Zhong said, Take him down. Lei Jiu's gaze trembled. He did not intend to reveal his identity. His gaze swept across and said, I want to see which one of you dares to make a move. I will kill him. Vicious, Chen Zhong sneered and said, You countryside bumpkins still dare to be so arrogant? You're courting death. At this time, Long Fei was in a bit of a bad mood. Chapter 1682, Some People Just Like to Be Mean. Chapter 1682, Some People Just Like to Be Mean. Is it that hard to buy a pill? Do I have to mock him? Do I have to be contemptuous? Must you seek death? Chen Zhong did not care about the anger that was being emitted from Long Fei's body at all. He was still as pleased with himself, and shouted, Men, capture them for me. Take your ancestors. An instant burst of power. Long Fei moved, his right hand grabbed out, instantly grabbing the collar on Chen Zhong's chest, raising it up into the air. Before anyone could react, he smashed it hard onto the ground. Boom! The ground cracked and caved in. Spirit's attic on the 3rd floor also started to shake. Puffed. Chen Zhong spat out a mouthful of blood. Both of his eyes bulged, and he was in so much pain that he couldn't even scream. Too fierce. Too fast. No one in the shop could react, not even the guards. Who would have thought that Long Fei would suddenly explode with power? Lei Jiu grinned. This kind of person is one who needs to be tidied up. Huff. Chen Zhong took a deep breath and said with difficulty, What are you still standing there for? Kill them all for me. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei lifted him up once again. He raised up to midair and said gloomily, I just want to buy a pill. Do you really like to cause trouble that much? As soon as he finished speaking, boom. Yet another fierce smash. Kacha, kacha. The bones that smashed onto the ground broke into a few pieces, blood spurted out from his mouth. And at that moment, Chen Zhong immediately fainted, unable to make a sound. An elder stared at him and shouted. The store was in an uproar. Then he quickly left the room. The 8 guards were stunned. The other elder, the power that Long Fei had released half a minute later, was simply too powerful. The elder was furious, the hedonistic, and shouted, Young master, who's the one acting so and did not dare to look straight who wants to destroy the spirit's attic? The people in the shop who mocked Long Fei has the guts as a bumpkin when the foppish young master dreams did not even dare to raise their heads to look at Long Fei, as they were afraid that they would become Chen Zhong and fall to the ground. He immediately walked to the side of the elder, quickly pointed at Long Fei, and stumbled into the backyard. Elder, then shouted out loud, Clan Elder, at this moment, it's bad. The sharp pain from Chen Zhong's body spirit's attic. Someone has come to cause trouble. He immediately cried in the backyard and said, The 2 elders walked out. You have to avenge me. They had sensed the tremors earlier. Looked at the pale Chen Zhong on the ground. An old man asked, staring at him with the servant's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He shouted coldly and said anxiously, How dare you, Elder, you dare cause trouble. There is someone causing trouble in Spirit's attic. The shopkeeper has already been knocked unconscious. I'm just here to buy a medicinal pellet. If you
Don't
don't go
your
quickly,
spirits
the
attic
entire
have any
spirits
pellets for
attic will be
sale?
destroyed
If
by
not,
them.
then why did you open a
Directly
bullshit pill
exaggerated.
shop?
He didn't
Lei
care.
Cohen was
This is the
furious
spirits
and
attic.
shouted.
It was the
Brat,
property of
are
the
you
Lei
insulting
family.
spirits
The
attic?
Lei family was
Longface
powerful,
said.
and
So
no one
what
in Yama
if
City
I
dared
want
to
to buy
provoke
pills?
them.
Don't even
A
think
few
about it.
ignorant
And just
bumpkins who
mock
did
at
not
them.
know their place
Is this the
should be
spirits
taught a
attic?
lesson.
How
The
preposterous.
shop assistant immediately said, "Elder, this brat wants the highest grade of spirit pills as soon as he comes. How can someone like him, who's so poor, afford it? He's obviously here to cause trouble." Chun Zhong was helped to his feet and said, "There's a terrible stench on your body. You think people like you can buy elixirs?" At this moment, Long Face stared at Lei Kuan and asked, "How much is the highest grade of healing pellets?" Lei Kuan looked at the shop assistant, and Chun Zhong then said slightly, 3,000 gold per pellet. As soon as he finished, Long Fei took out a golden note and immediately slammed it on the table. "Is this enough?" Looking at the golden note shop assistant on the table, the expression on his face sank. Chen Zhong's face also became ugly. The foppish young master sneered. "A person like you can actually come up with so much money? You don't even know where you're from. Did you steal it or steal it?" While he was speaking, Long Fei flipped his right hand, took out another 10 divine spirit pills, and asked, "Are these enough?" The value of a single divine spirit was 1 million gold. 10 pills would cost 10 million silver taels. In Yama City, it was more than enough to purchase any one pellet. When he took out the 10 divine spirit pills, the shop assistant's expression became even more unsightly. It was the same for Chun Zhong. The hedonistic young master was shocked, speechless. "Is that enough?" Long Fei asked coldly once again. Riquin looked at the clerk. The servant lowered his head, not daring to speak. Lei Kuan slightly said, "Bring the best medicine to treat internal injuries." The shop assistant
Fei handed over the
quickly
money,
took out a pill
took
from
the
the
pill,
shelf, and turned
Lei
to
Kuan
leave.
said,
At this time,
3,000 gold.
Lei Kuan's eyes turned sinister as he coldly said, "Do you want to leave now?" Long Fei stopped and turned to look at Lei Kuan. "What's wrong? Do you still want me to stay for dinner?" Lei Kuan laughed coldly and said, "You bought the pill. Now should we talk about the matter of you beating someone up? Furthermore, you are causing trouble in our spirit's attic, which has caused damage to our reputation." Long Fei was startled. "You want to extort me?" Lei Kuan laughed coldly. "Either you get beaten up by me now, or hand over the 10 divine spirit pills, and I'll spare your life." At this time, another old man spoke up. "Brother Lei, let's just forget about it." "Forget it? It's impossible to just let it go like that. The people who injured me caused a huge loss to my spirit's attic. It's not even a small loss if he had 10 divine spirit pills." Lei Kuan revealed a greedy look in his eyes when Long Fei took out the divine spirit pill. Divine spirit pill, the cultivation resources of a martial arts training cultivator. One divine spirit pill was enough for him to cultivate for a whole month. With these 10 divine spirit pills, his cultivation might even improve. Long Fei smirked and said, "What if I don't give it to you?" "Then don't even think about leaving." Lei Kuan's eyes lit up. The door was instantly blocked by 8 guards. Long Fei's gaze darkened. Some people just like to be despicable. Chapter 1683, God Rare Sect. Chapter 1683, God Rare Sect Requin was greedy. Very greedy. 10 divine spirit pills were enough for him to cultivate for a year, adding long phase cultivation to that. Even though he was only a 4-star immortal, he did not put this kind of person in his eyes. Long phase unfamiliar face. Adding on to the fact that he had bought pills to treat his internal injuries, it was possible that he suffered from internal injuries. From this, it could be inferred that it would be easy to deal with Long Fei. However, just as Lei Kuan was about to attack Long Fei, Lei Jiu took a step forward, his eyes staring straight at Lei Kuan, and walked towards him. Lei Kuan sneered. "Brat, you came to throw away your life?" Lei Jiu took out an order badge from his chest pocket. The emblem was carved with the word thunder in the shape of a rune. This was the emblem of the Lei clan, but its color was purple. What did purple mean? It meant he was from the main branch, and he was from a certain young master. Lei Kuan's face turned dark, and his body froze. He couldn't move at all. Lei Jiu walked in front of him, slapped him down, and shouted, "You want to make a move against my boss?" "Pa!" It was incomparably loud. The 5 finger marks on Lei Kuan's face caused blood to ooze out of the corner of his mouth, but he didn't dare to move. Because Lei Jiu was someone he could never afford to offend in his entire life. His surname, Lei, was just something the Lei clan gave him. He was just a servant of the Lei clan. How dare he challenge the young master of the Lei clan? Chenzhong shouted, "Protector, are you all blind? Didn't you see anyone attack the elders?" As soon as he finished, Lei Kuan slapped him. "You dog, what's wrong with young master teaching me a lesson?" "Pa!" Chenzhong was beaten senseless. Young master! Young master!" Lei Jiu slapped Lei Kuan once again, saying, "Who gave you the right? You want to do whatever you want here? You actually threatened to extort us? Do you know who he is? He's my boss. You son of a b asterisk tch. You made my Lei clan lose face in front of the boss. What's the use of keeping a servant like you around?" Lei Jiu was very angry. He didn't want to reveal his identity, but now he was furious. How dare he? He could ignore others, but extorting Long Fei would not do. Lei Jiu immediately knelt on the ground and said, "Young master, I was wrong. Please forgive me this once. I won't dare to do it again." Requin knelt. The shop assistant and Chenzhong finally reacted. The Lei Jiu in front of them was an incredible figure, and his boss, Long Fei, was even more so. It was hard to imagine. Instantly, they felt as if the sky had collapsed. The one who felt even worse was the hedonistic young master. He was trembling all over. His crotch directly dripped urine, and before he was even scared, he had already started urinating. The Lei family. Furthermore, it was a power that he would never be able to offend in his life. Lei Jiu walked to Long Fei's side and said, "Brother Fei, I'm really sorry. Our Lei family was not strict with our management. That's why we are acting like this." Long Fei waved his hand and said, "This is a matter of your Lei family. I'll be leaving first." Lei Jiu's heart sank. Long Fei's words seemed to draw a clear line between them. In fact, Long Fei was in a hurry to go back and see Li Ruchao. With that, Long Fei left in big strides. Titai walked up to him and said softly, "Ninth, Brother Fei doesn't seem to be very happy. If we don't handle this matter well, I'm afraid he—" Lei Jiu also understood in his heart. Immediately, Lei Jiu turned and stared at Lei Kuan and the other two and bellowed, "All unrelated people, get out." The crowd in the store quickly retreated. That hedonistic young master also wanted to take advantage of the situation to get out, but he was stopped by Lei Jiu. "You can't leave." The hedonistic young master was instantly paralyzed on the ground. Grandfather! I was wrong. I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Lei Jiu ordered the guards. Kill them all. Half an hour later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Chunzhong for obtaining 50 experience, 10 holy power value, 1 energy values. Huh. Long Fei was startled. He had attacked Chunzhong, and now that Chunzhong had died, he could gain experience. Obviously, Lei Jiu had made his move. A bit savage, Long Fei muttered to himself as he walked into the courtyard. On Devil Island, people were dying every day. All power was built on power. The Lei family was the same. The people born in Devil Island were not unfamiliar with killing people. A dead person was a very normal thing. Lei Jiu wanted to settle this matter well, because this matter was related to his relationship with Long Fei. Long Fei was his boss. He was also his savior. He could bully anyone, but he could not bully his benefactor. Long Fei stepped into the courtyard, seeing the mess in the courtyard. And seeing Li Ruchao lying on the ground in the courtyard, he immediately ran over. Li Ruchao's face was pale, and he was on the verge of death. Seeing Long Fei, Li Ruchao immediately said, Long Fei, save my sister. Go save my sister. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Dark Night. Long Fei gave the spirit pill to Li Ruchao. Li Ruchao shook his head and said, It's useless. My heart veins are broken. The great Luo immortal will not be able to save me. Li Ruchao held onto Long Fei's arm tightly and said, Long Fei, you must save my sister. You must save her. Long Fei nodded and said, All right, I will definitely save her. Li Ruchao laughed softly and took out a broken order badge from his bosom. Long Fei, I know you don't belong here. This is an order badge given to me by an elder of the god Rare Sect. If possible, I beg you to take care of my sister and send her to god Rare Sect. Ding! The system sounded out. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest and saving Li Ruhua. Mission level, time of mission, 1 day, task reward, level +1, holy power value, 10,000, special reward once. The task was triggered. The rewards for the missions were very generous, but they were unable to compare to the God Rare Sect badge in Long Fei's hands because Long Fei finally found a trace of hope. The hope to leave Devil Island. This was why the system allowed him to agree to Li Ruchao's request back then. Let him join Li Ruchao's Sky Tyrant team. This was the reason. God Rare Sect. After explaining all of this, Li Ruchao slowly closed his eyes. Long Fei gently put him down and said softly, Rest assured, Long Fei, will definitely accomplish what I promised you. I swear to the heavens. Even if he did not have the Heaven Crippling token, Long Fei would do it. Even if he didn't have a quest, he would still do it. The Black Knight mercenary group. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, and a cold light shot out of them. Master Iron Face, I received the news that the brat who scared your mount away went back to the Yama city. The muscles in the corner of his eyes twitched a few times as he coldly said, Brat, I will make you die without a burial ground. Chapter 1684. No one, Chapter 1684. No one long Fay did not linger. After asking the location of the Black Knight's warrior on the way to the main hall, they left immediately. Rumble. Black clouds began to condense, enveloping the earth. Lightning raged in the clouds, making the air seem extremely oppressive. Soon, there would be a torrential rain. Spirit's attic. A guard walked in and said, "Young master, we found out clearly Master Longfei's friend. Li Ruchao was killed by a Black Knight. His sister was taken away by the Black Knight. Master Longfei is rushing towards Black Knight's house." Lei Jiu's brows tightened and said, "Dark Knight, how strong are they?" The guard said, "Their leader is a 9-star divine soldier. Black Knight's warrior is extremely strong, one of the strongest mercenary groups in Yama City. If Master Longfei is alone, I am afraid." He did not continue. "Ninth brother, I'm afraid something is about to happen to Brother Fei." The guard hesitated for a bit, then continued. "Last time, Master Longfei had a conflict with the brother of the leader of the mercenary group. His mount was scared away by Master Longfei, causing him to lose face in front of so many people. If Master Longfei really went to the Black Knight's house, I'm afraid the Dark Knight would not let him off." Lei Jiu suddenly stood up and asked, "How many guards does the Lei family have in Yama City?" The guard said, "Young
It was
master,
exactly as
the
the
Lei
Black
family
Cloaked
does
Man
not
had
have many
expected.
guards in the Yama City.
No one from the
If
Tai
we were to
family
call them all
was
in,
sent out.
we would need the
Lanya
clan
had
leader's
even gotten
edict.
the cold shoulder in the Lan clan.
*CK for people
Lei
gathered.
Jiu immediately
What should we
cursed.
do? There are
Prepare
several hundred members
100
of the
healing
Black
pills
Knight
for
mercenary
me.
group.
Half a quarter of an hour later,
Lei Jiu clenched
Lei
his
Jiu
fists.
rushed out
"Fuck,
with the pill.
I don't care anymore.
Lanya
I'll go
said,
to Black Knight's
"I
house.
will go to the Lan clan
At this
branch
moment,
to think of a way
at
to
the
get
entrance
them."
of Black
Tai
Knight's
also
house,
said,
"I'll go get someone
"Rumble,
from the Tai
a bolt
family."
of lightning pierced
The
through
Black
the
Knight's
clouds,
mercenary group
and a torrential
was
downpour
much stronger
came crashing
than the
down.
gang of heroes.
One person,
Furthermore,
he held a
the
bright
Black Knight's
were
red
all
longsword
elites,
in his hand,
and each of them had
as
been
he
through
stood in
hundreds
front
of
of the Dark
battles
Knight's gate,
and had ferocious
his body was
demon
exuding a
beast mounts.
strong and cold killing
Longfei
intent,
alone
which was
would
imprinted on his
definitely
face
not
by
be
the
enough to deal
flashing
with
of
it.
lightning.
That
Longfei
face
was
was
their
ferocious.
savior.
They
The
had to
pair
help
of
him.
eyes were like
However,
that of a ferocious beast.
Yama City,
He raised his
somewhere.
eyes and said coldly,
"My lord,
Hanley
as you
Ruhua
expected,
over." They all went to the clan branch to call for people. An old man was standing beside a man in a black cloak. The cloaked man was the man that appeared at Gang of Heroes. "None of them can call." A sneer came from under the black cloak, and then he asked, "How are the preparations for the Dark Knights?" The elder immediately said, "I will follow your instructions as long as Missia, if that little girl appears, she will be killed without question." The cloaked man coldly smiled and said, "All right, let's see how you can escape this time." He counted everything. With the Black Knight's current strength, he could easily kill the 5 of them. Moreover, he even gave them some special items. Enough. Chapter 1685, Power of 10,000 Beasts. Chapter 1685, Power of 10,000 Beasts. That little bastard from there. You dare to behave so atrociously in front of the Dark Knight's gate. You're courting death, aren't you? The two guards shouted, but without waiting for them to finish, they instantly felt a sharp pain on their necks. The pain quickly spread to their entire bodies. Their bodies turned cold, and they powerlessly fell to the ground. Blood splattered all over the ground. Ding, ding, 2 notifications sounded. Long Fei did not even look at them. He directly stepped in and roared loudly, "Iron Mask, get out here right now." Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sound of thunder raged, roaring continuously in the sky above Black Knight's house, as if it wanted to blow up the Black Knight. It was also at this time, from all directions, a column of Black Riders rushed out. He was wearing steel armor. With the long spear in hand, the mount beneath him revealed a savage gaze, its 2 eyes staring straight at Long Fei, as though it was going to tear him apart at any moment. Boom, boom. A series of loud footsteps came from afar, and a deep voice sounded out, "You dog, you really dare to come?" The mount beneath him was completely different from before. This mount was the largest mount amongst all mounts, and its entire body emitted a dense black aura. Its 2 eyes were like demons as it stared at Long Fei. The 3rd level in the inner area and the 3rd level in the outer area immediately surrounded Long Fei. Over 100 knights. As long as he used the knight's attack, Long Fei would instantly be torn apart. Long Fei stared at the Iron Mask and said, "Hand Li Ruhua over." "Ha ha ha. You want more people from me?" "Tai," she sneered, then looked at a corner. A knight had brought Li Ruhua out. At this moment, Li Ruhua's hair was a mess. The clothes on her body were torn, her snow-white skin was exposed, and countless of scratches could be seen. Her eyes were cold, as if she was dead. Iron Face sneered and said, "Is the woman you're talking about her?" "Ha ha ha. I didn't expect that after all these years. She is still a virgin. Ha ha ha. It's very tight. There's a lot of water. My brothers are all enjoying themselves. Ha ha ha. Brothers, are you feeling good?" The surrounding Black Knight laughed. "Awesome." The corner of Li Ruhua's mouth twitched. He glanced at Long Fei and said, "Go, go, quickly go. Leave." Iron Face sneered and said, "Can he leave?" Long Fei looked at Li Ruhua and said, "I won't leave. I will save you, and I will make everyone here pay the price for their beastly actions. I will make them all die in front of you." In the end, his voice was extremely cold. Long Fei's anger had already exploded to an uncontrollable extent. A lady that was like a flower and jade-like, they had only been gone for half a month, and yet they had already become like this. These people had to die. They had to die. Long Fei could not control himself. Iron Face sneered and said, "You overestimate your own abilities. You still dare to be so arrogant even in the face of death. I can't help but admire that mouth of yours. Someone come." As soon as he finished, the numerous knights shuddered and shouted loudly, "Here!" Iron Face coldly said, "Kill! Roar! Roar!" The moment the word "kill" came out of his mouth, his steeled mount immediately let out a ferocious roar, and all the surrounding demon beast mounts roared. Incomparable savagery. Next, Long Fei's left and right rows of dark knights charged out at the same time. Knight charge. This was the knight's most powerful technique. Charging, accelerating, the strong impact speed could directly cause Long Fei's body to split apart. Long Fei's eyes were cold. The idea moved. Only trash like you want to play with knights? As soon as he finished, the holy power value moved, and in that instant Long Fei bellowed out, and waves of sound waves rippled out in the air, spreading outwards. Suddenly, the entire Yama city was in an uproar. Whether it was the chickens, ducks, dogs, or fowl, they all became restless and rushed out uncontrollably. The arrogant aristocratic mounts on the streets all flew with the owners on their backs, crazily heading towards the Black Knight's house. A commotion, an intense commotion. All the animals within 100 kilometers became restless. They were summoned by some kind of power and charged towards Black Knight's house with all their power, completely out of their control. And in the Black Knight's house, the 2 rows of Dark Knights who were rushing towards Long Fei suddenly stopped, and the mounts they were riding on started to look uneasy. They were tamed mounts, absolutely loyal to the master on their backs. But now they were wildly jumping, throwing their owners off their backs in half a minute, and following which the same happened to the 100 surrounding knights. The demon beast frantically struggled free. In just a few minutes, the knights were thrown to the ground in an extremely sorry state. Moreover, the demon beast beneath him did the same, throwing him away. A knight's mount turning traitor? This was a great humiliation to any knight. Moreover, what made them feel even more humiliated was that those rebellious demon beasts were all standing beside Long Fei, protecting him in the middle, like he was their warrior. Long Fei had the title of King of Beasts. His strength could summon 10,000 beasts. When the demon beast within 100 kilometers heard his summons, they would all rush over and gather for him. More and more demon beast, poultry, and even ants began to gather around Long Fei. This scene, it was an unimaginably spectacular sight. Iron Face shouted, "Brat, what did you do?" Long Fei stepped onto the large steed that originally had an iron face and coldly laughed. Very simple answer. Kill all of you. Iron Mask looked at the mount beneath Long Fei's feet, gritted his teeth, and roared angrily. Relying on you? Yes. Just lousy. Long Fei stared at the Iron Mask, his fingers moved slightly, and he sneered. Rip all of them into pieces. Roar. A demon beast roared, and then erupted into a primal savageness. Rushing out, he suddenly flew up and bit down on the head of a steel armor knight. His fangs were filled with blood as he let out another unbridled roar. Next, the dense number of demon beasts around Long Fei charged out, crazily. Each and every one of them was like a fierce tiger charging into a flock of sheep, incomparably savage. Black Knight's house instantly became a living hell. At this moment, the system beat began to roar. Ding, 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 ding. The tempo couldn't stop at all. Dark Knight, today I will turn you all into Death Knights. Long Fei was furious beyond compare. Li Ruhua had been tainted. The person he had to protect could not protect his death. And these things flooded his heart. He needed to vent. It needed to be vented out crazily. The best way to vent it all was to kill them all. Kill them all. Background. Default background color light blue ocean light, yellow clear, green light elegant, red powder aristocratic, family white snow world gray world color, default black red green blue brown size, default small medium large double click rolling screen, slowest, moderately fastest, background. Default background color light blue ocean light, yellow clear, green light elegant, red powder aristocratic, family white snow world gray world color, default black red green blue brown size, default small medium large double click rolling screen, slowest, moderately fastest, table of contents. Author: a lot of water from the sea returns to the table of contents to join the bookmark. Table of contents. Chapter 1686. Infuriated killing after losing their demon beast mounts. These knights immediately lost half of their fighting strength. With so many demon beasts charging out, it was impossible for them to defend against them. The hundreds of Black Knight mercenaries who were fleeing in all directions hated this lady for giving birth to less than 2 legs. They had never in their lives dreamed of being chased down by their own mounts. The Iron Mask crawled up from the ground. Staring at Long Fei, whose eyes were brimming with anger, he directly rushed to Li Ruhua's side and grabbed her neck, then roared at her, "Fuck, if you move again, this daddy will immediately strangle her." Exerting force, with 2 fingers, Li Ruhua's throat started to cough. Her breathing became ragged, and her face started to turn pale. However, she still spoke with great difficulty. "Don't worry about me. Kill him. Kill this bastard." There was still despair in his eyes. As long as she could kill the Metal Mask, she would be willing to die 10 more times. Back then, it was precisely because he had been discovered scheming against her that she and her brother were chased out of Black Knight's warrior. They were targeted and bullied everywhere in the Yama city, and in her heart, the Iron Mask was a lingering fear. If she could kill him, she could pay any price. "Bitch. Pa." He slapped Li Ruhua so hard that blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth, and his hair became even more disheveled. He shouted coldly, "Kid, did you see that? Stop these demon beasts immediately, or else..." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's figure disappeared into thin air, completely gone. But the steel mask mount stared at him angrily, and the moment Long Fei disappeared, the gigantic demon beast suddenly rushed towards him at an extremely fast depth. He pinched harder with his fingers and shouted, "Brat, don't play tricks on me. If you want this bitch to live, then do as I say, and immediately order these demon beasts to stop. Otherwise, she will become a dead person right away." As soon as he finished, a cold voice rang in his ears. "Who do you think will become a dead person?" It was extremely cold. A chill rose up from the Iron Mask. His body could not help but tremble. You... Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei walked out of the virtual mirror, grabbed onto the Iron Mask on his throat, and pinched his fingers together forcefully, pulling fiercely. Crash! His Adam's apple had been pulled out, and blood was gushing out from his throat. He immediately released Li Ruhua and placed his hands on his throat, coughing and shouting. In between his fingers, blood crazily flowed out from his mouth. He stared at Long Fei, wanting to say something, but the more he said, the more blood spewed out from his mouth. "I hate it when people threaten me the most. Who's going to die now?" Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. At this moment, Li Ruhua crawled up from the ground, directly snatching the devil sword from Long Fei's hands. With both hands wielding the sword, he rushed in front of the Iron Mask and fiercely slashed down. In her hands, the demon sword was not a sword but a kitchen knife. It hacked down like crazy. 1 sword, 2 sword, 3 sword. It was as if he had fallen into madness. Fresh blood splattered all over Li Ruhua's body. The Metal Mask man stared straight at Li Ruhua, but all he could do was stare. His body had been slashed into mincemeat. It was a mess of flesh and blood. The state of death was extremely miserable. The area below his crotch was chopped into mincemeat. Long Fei walked up lightly and said, all right, he's already dead. Li Ruhua continued to crazily slash. At this moment, with a loud shout, he shouted, stop. Recommended book chapter, catalog join bookmark tip. Press Ctrl+D to quickly save the current chapter page to your browser favorites. Press Enter go back to the chapter catalog. Press to go back to the previous chapter, and press to enter the next chapter. Chapter 1687, Who Dies? Chapter 1687, Who Dies? Heavy drinks like thunder. In the pouring rain, it was like a clap of thunder. At the same time, an imposing aura rushed towards Li Ruhua. Long Fei took a step forward to block in front of Li Ruhua and instantly endured the heavy pressure. His body sank and almost fell to the ground. Li Ruhua did not care about him at all. I will kill you. I will kill you. I will kill you. He kept repeating it. He had no idea what was happening around him. Right now, the iron mask was completely dead, but Li Ruhua still didn't let go. She continued to cut madly. This was her way of venting. I told you to stop. Every word was filled with killing intent. At the same time, a voice shot out from the heavy rain in a straight line. A steel spear was thrusted forward in a straight line. Very quickly. It was as fast as lightning. Long Fei simply could not see the opponent's figure clearly, and could not sense his speed either. His reaction speed could not keep up at all. This guy was stronger and stronger than Yuan Xiong. The guild leader is here. The guild leader is here. It's the guild leader. The guild leader has made his move. That kid is dead for sure. Captain, kill him. Kill him. Many of the members of the Black Knight group saw the steel spear and immediately cheered. Black Knight's warrior guild leader, Iron Palm, top powerhouse of the Yama City, a divine 9-star realm cultivator. And he was a powerhouse that had transcended heavenly tribulation to become a divine realm expert. The 99 god slaughtering spear techniques were fast like lightning. All of them were extremely fast. No one could dodge them. A 4-star cultivation level like Long Fei was not even enough. Long Fei turned to look at Li Ruhua and saw that she was still releasing her energy crazily. Long Fei's heart trembled. He stood up from the ground, his body blocking, and stared ahead. Shwa, shwa, shwa. Rainwater dripped onto the steel spear, producing a buzzing sound. The spear point flashed with a cold light as it stabbed down. Brother Fei, be careful. Brother Fei. Brother Fei. Lei Jiu and the others stepped into the Black Knight's house and saw this scene. He couldn't block it. Long Fei was unable to block this spear, and the most important thing was that he could not clearly see the position of the iron palm. This was what troubled him the most. So he used his body to block it. Crack! The steel spear directly pierced through Long Fei's chest, and Long Fei was also instantly nailed onto the ground. Long Fei's body was stabbed into the air, and his body sank down. Blood gushed out. Fresh blood fell onto Li Ruhua's face, and at that moment, she suddenly woke up, seeing Long Fei being nailed in mid-air. Her body trembled, her eyes shook, and she shook her head and said, "No, no, no." Tears welled up like spring water. The steel spear pierced through Long Fei's body. His body hung in midair. The blood on his chest continued to flow crazily along with the rain. Seeing Li Ruhua's tears, Long Fei laughed lightly. "Don't be afraid. I'm fine. I'm fine. Brother Fei. Brother Fei." Lei Jiu and the rest rushed forward, their chests being penetrated. How could they be all right? The 4 were enraged. Lei Jiu clenched his teeth. He turned and stared at the iron palm in the distance and shouted, "I will kill you." Tai Zhang glanced at Lei Jiu and the other two, then looked at the old man beside him. The old man nodded slightly. Then, Iron Palm's lips curled up as he sneered. Kill me? You wish to see who kills who today. Bam! Long Fei's body sank. Long Fei stepped forward, and his arms sank. He wanted to use Blasting Fist, but the system sounded out. Ding! System notification. Too far away. Ding! System notification. Too far away. Spell skills required a certain distance. Long Fei's chest was still pierced with a steel spear, his health point unceasingly weakening. Long Fei did not bother about it, but walked towards the Iron Palm step by step and said, "One more shot. Come on." He still had the same arrogance and arrogance. The surrounding people were all shocked by Long Fei. Is he crazy? Was he really not afraid of death? Tai Zhang looked coldly at Long Fei and said, "Trash, you're still acting arrogant even before death. Let's see how long you can continue acting arrogant for." As soon as he finished, shwa, the figure of Iron Palm disappeared. Long Fei frowned, his fists clenched tightly. Long Fei, Brother Fei. No, their cultivation was not their opponent. They could not even block the Iron Palm, and Long Fei was heavily injured, so he was definitely not their opponent. However, but he wasn't afraid. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Come at me if you dare." Boom! Above his head, a palm struck out. A powerful force poured in, instantly crushing Long Fei's body, causing his body to sink. He was almost crushed to the ground. However, Long Fei stared fixedly at the sky, his two hands grabbing onto the steel spear. He pulled and roared. Ah! Blood spurted out like a pillar. The pain was indescribable. Long Fei's body was also trembling, but he clenched his teeth and endured it. His fists moved, and he roared loudly, F***, KU immortal! Blasting Fist. His arms sank. His strength was like a pillar as it surged forth. It surged out crazily. He punched at the Iron Palm above his head. The power of the God explosion was also released. Iron Palm coldly snorted, "Can a weak fist like yours hurt me even a little?" "Humph, you overestimate yourself." Long Fei's cultivation was only at the 4-star level. Even if he had more powerful strength, he wouldn't be able to harm a single bit of. Furthermore, his name was Iron Palm. Not only was his palm energy vigorous, Long Fei, it also had an iron-like defense. At this time, an old man on the other side tensed up and looked at Long Fei's fist seriously. Plain and ordinary, is it really as powerful as what Master Lanimo has said? Doubt arose in his heart as well. I don't believe it. That was because this was an extremely ordinary fist strike. One could not tell what sort of power was surging through this fist strike. It was impossible for him to harm Iron Palm. However, Blasting Fist was a special cultivation technique. He was a product of combining Long Fei's spirit treasures from the Chaos Realm, a cultivation technique condensed from System Furnace, an extremely special existence, incomparably powerful. Naturally, he could not tell. Boom! He pressed down with his palm. A fist struck out. The two forces collided, causing Long Fei's body to sink. His legs were pressed into the ground, causing explosive sounds to ring out from his joints. At this moment, the surrounding Black Knight's warrior disciples all revealed excited smiles. This kid's body will immediately explode. I have never seen anyone who could withstand the captain's Iron Palm head-on. This kid is overestimating himself. He actually dared to confront the guild leader head-on. He's courting death. The old man also thought the same. At least, it looked like Long Fei could not hold on any longer. However, a dramatic scene played out. Iron Palm, which was floating in the air, suddenly exploded. Its body was torn into pieces, flesh and blood flying everywhere. Chapter 1688, God's Armor. Chapter 1688, God's Armor Unbelievable. It was hard to imagine. Everyone felt like their brains had been stuck in a trap. They couldn't react, and they were constantly twisting while muttering to themselves, "Impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible. What kind of power is this? Is he a human or a ghost?" It was only when the flesh and blood of the iron palms fell from the sky and smashed into the ground, rolling to their feet, that they suddenly reacted, their scalps turning numb. His eyes stared at the pieces of flesh on the ground in shock. People were going crazy. How could this be? How could this be? How could the guild leader be inskilled by him? That's impossible. Oh God, what just happened? The eyes of the Dark Knights were glazed over, and they stood rooted to the spot in a daze. The old man's eyes darkened. Indeed, Master Lonimo is right. His punch can instantly kill everything. It is too terrifying. It is too unbelievable. An unimaginable punch. Lei Ju was startled for half a second. He reacted and bellowed. Who else? Too cool. Fly for the handsome one. Lei Ju couldn't control the excitement in his heart. He felt that his days with Long Fei were too comfortable, and every time Long Fei would give him a completely different kind of pleasant surprise. If he was a woman, he would definitely fall in love with her. He took off all his clothes and warmed his bed. At this moment, Long Fei looked up into the sky and let the rain hit his face. His mouth hooked up into a faint smile, and he said, "Come on, explode." The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Iron Palm for obtaining 130,000 experience, 10,000 holy power value points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Iron Fist Palm technique. Do you wish to practice it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Black Iron Gloves. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Dark Underworld Steel Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. The system beeped crazily. At the same time, Long Fei moved. Release your metamorphic energy value. Please choose Dark Underworld Steel Armor. Ding. Abnormal energy will be injected into the dark steel armor, and it will transform. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining God's Armor. Do you want to wear it? Item: God's Armor health point, plus 10,000 points defense value, plus 10,000 points spiritual energy, plus 10,000 points resistance, plus 10,000 points. He was going crazy. He was really going crazy. This abnormal power was too crazy, too fierce, and it was too exciting. Long Fei looked at the attribute of the God's Armor, and his entire body was stupefied. Can you not be so crazy? F***CK. This armor is not invincible. These abnormal attributes are so strong that they explode. Long Fei was extremely excited. He had seen abnormal people, but he had never seen such an abnormal person. Even in a private server game, it was impossible for an abnormal person to live to this extent. In that instant, Long Fei moved. Wear it. Boom. The God's Armor immediately strung Long Fei's body. Moreover, it went from an ordinary set of armor to a holy artifact, putting it on and hiding its body. It did not reveal itself at all, just like usual. However, the moment he put on the armor, Long Fei immediately felt the health point increase by leaps and bounds. It was as if he was invincible. Long Fei clenched his fists and shouted, "I only have one question. Who else?" At this time, the old man slowly walked out and said with a sinister smile, "After this punch, what else do you have? Someone come. Kill all 6 of them." As soon as he finished, more than 10 assassins in black robes descended from the sky and surrounded Long Fei and the other 6 people. They were the real powerhouse. Chapter 1689. Invincible. Chapter 1689. Invincible, not just Long Fei. The ones who wanted to kill were Lanya and the others. This was also the reason why Iron Palm did not flee in all directions after being killed by Long Fei's punch. It was also why Long Fei did not complete his mission. He thought it was strange. Logically speaking, if the boss died, the system should have sent out a system notification saying that the quest had been completed. But not. That also meant this mission still continued. Li Ruhua was not completely saved. The A-class mission was not that easy. Long Fei frowned as he looked at the dozens of masked men in black clothing around him. The auras exuding from their bodies were extremely dense, different from the auras of the Dark Knights. If the Dark Knights had been through hundreds of battles on the Demon Beast, these men in black had been through hundreds of battles in the process of killing, and the power released from their bodies contained a strong killing intent. Long Fei slightly said, "I really don't think I have offended you, right?" The dozen or so killers suddenly moved. It was just a tentative, as though they were flying and rushed towards Long Fei's heart felt a chill. As the blasting fist, he was surrounded by the Dark Knights. Blood madly gushed out from his chest, the killer did not causing appear. To be unable to hold when he killed Iron Palm. With the god's armor on him, these killers 10,000 points of health points had been strengthened, or 10,000 points of defense had been strengthened, and 10,000 points of spirit power would not only appear by his side more than once, they would also be in the mountain range. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he suddenly remembered what happened to the disciple from the Gang of Heroes. Lei Jiu also shouted out loud and immediately said, "Who are you, Brother Fei?" The elder smiled. "You have to be careful. Who we are is Lanya did not have time to take out his staff. What is important is that the idea are about to die." And immediately released a burst of defensive power and said, causing Long Fei's defense to be even stronger. "Is your master really going to put Lanya to death? He was charging straight She's just at a little girl as he shouted. Is she really going to do this? All of you, come at your father." As soon as Long Fei finished with a fierce glare, The
elder
old
cried
man's
out,
expression
"Kill him!
instantly
Whoosh,
changed.
whoosh, whoosh.
Legio,
Asterisk, whoosh,
MT
whoosh,
tie,
whoosh.
tie
Asterisk,
high,
whoosh,
and the
whoosh,
other
whoosh.
two were
Asterisk,
also
a dozen
stunned
people
as
attacked
they
Long
looked at
Fei at the
Long
same
Fei.
time.
These
With
killers
suspicion.
were all elite
Lanya
killers
asked in
The
confusion,
cultivation techniques
"Brother
they
Fei,
used
are
were
all
all
these people
deadly
coming
moves.
for me?"
As far
The
as
old man
killers were
squinted
concerned,
at
to
Long
be able to
Fei.
kill with
Long
one
Fei
move,
said,
they definitely
the gang of
wouldn't
heroes
use
was
the second
arranged
move.
by them.
They knew very
The
well
purpose
that to
is to
pity
take
their
your life
enemies was to be cruel
and
to themselves.
Long Fei
The
looked
dozen
at
or
the
so
old man.
killers rushed
A
towards
second
Long
ago,
Fei
he was still
and
not
used
sure,
their
but
deadly
when he saw
moves,
the old man's
determined to
expression
kill Long
suddenly
Fei in an
change.
instant.
He was certain
Boom,
that someone from
boom,
Lan clan
rumble,
wanted Lanya's life.
under the waves of
He said
powerful
softly,
attacks.
"It was
Long
someone from
Fei
your
stood
Lan
in
clan
place without
who wanted
moving
your
an
life.
inch.
Someone
What is he
from my
doing?
Lan clan? Is he waiting to die?"
Lanya was startled.
Is he crazy?
And didn't understand
He
what
must
he
have
meant
been
for a
scared
moment.
silly
Who
by
wanted
these
her
hitmen.
life?
Did
She
he
had
think
not
he
offended
could
anyone.
survive after
Lanya
killing our
stared at the
captain
old man and
It's
asked
almost
angrily,
time to see the king
"Who
of
is your
hell?"
master?
"Brat, you can go
The
die
elder's
now."
face became gloomy
Many
and
of the
cold as he
disciples
said,
of the
"Go to
Black
hell
Knight
and ask
Guild
Hades.
started
Kill them all."
clamoring. Legio's heart tightened. "What the hell are you doing?" If Li Ruhua was not stopped by MT Tai, she would have already rushed out with 10 assassins stronger than Long Fei attacking. Long Fei would not retaliate. How could she still be alive? The elder sneered. "Brat, I didn't think you would still have the determination to die." "Die? Do you still want to wake up?" Long Fei's voice was very light, and she did not feel any pain. The faces of the dozen assassins turned grim, and they instantly jumped away. Without any hesitation, he immediately jumped away. Long Fei then patted the dust off his body and combed his silver hair, and revealed a faint smile on his face. Just the strength of Yu-Fu, weak to the point of exploding. Too weak. He was extremely excited in his heart. God's armor. Abnormal attributes. That was a fierce stroke. Just now, the attacks from the dozen or so killers had only dealt him one damage. Miss. He had always been the one to use the MIS on others. He had never thought that his own defense would allow others to use the MIS as well. He could not help but feel great about this. What's going on? What's going on? What the hell? How come nothing happened to him? That's impossible. The attacks of dozens of people were blocked in an instant. Use my body to block it? They were all dumbfounded. Even the assassins didn't understand it at all. How could he not even believe it? It didn't deal any damage? The elder looked at him for a moment before asking, "Master, you didn't say that this boy had such power? What is this?" He received the information quickly and thoroughly. She actually knew how to avoid Long Fei's blasting fist. However, no matter how fast the information was, it wasn't as fast as Long Fei's abnormal energy. How could he have thought that Long Fei would suddenly have a new god's armor that could cause people to tremble? Long Fei hooked his fingers and said, "Come again." The old man became angry and shouted, "Kill!" Boom, boom. The dozen or so killers attacked again. This time they erupted with power, becoming even more powerful, sealing off every part of Long Fei's body, and started killing him. Buzz. Buzz. There were 2 swords on either side of his temples. There were 3 throats. There was 1 in each eye. A few hearts. Chapter 1690, Shocking Fruit Bomb. Chapter 1690, Shocking Fruit Bomb. It could be said that every fatal part would have a sword pointed at it, but these swords could not penetrate through. They were half a centimeter away from Long Fei's skin. They were unable to pierce through no matter how advantageous it was. It was like stabbing into a steel plate. Even steel plates would not be like this. With their strength, piercing through a steel plate was an easy task. It just couldn't pierce through. He kept using his strength, but it was useless. Why is that? Defense. 10,000 points of defense. Their attacks were blocked in an instant, making it impossible for them to get any closer. This was the power of God's armor. Awesome defense meant that he was invincible. The crowd looked on in shock, unable to say a single word. Tai Hai muttered,
Sis, when did your defensive power become so strong? Just look at these assassins' attacks. They seem weak and powerless. Lanya shook his head. It's not that my defense is strong. It's just that Brother Faye's defensive strength had reached a certain level. A domain that I don't know anything about is too strong. Lanya trained in defensive power. It could be said that the worship of her defense was more than the pursuit of strength. When she saw the defensive power that Long Fei had displayed, she was extremely shocked and started to worship him. Lei Ju muttered to himself, "What domain is that? What kind of domain is so strong?" Lanya said, "Once your defense reaches a certain level, you will be invincible. I am afraid that the defense Brother Fei has released has already stepped into the domain of invincibility." Invincible. Wow, awesome. Legio said excitedly. At this moment, the old man became angry and his face became gloomy. What bullsh asterisk T, you're invincible. You only have a protective spiritual treasure on you. In that moment, he moved and directly leaped into the air, dropping from the sky and striking towards Long Fei's head. If an ordinary person were to be struck by this attack, their body would be directly split open by the shock wave. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes. Boom. The old man's palm struck down. "Kneel down, brat." Buzz. His power exploded out, exploding on top of Long Fei's head. In that moment, Long Fei's silver-white hair flew wildly in the air, surging crazily. A red number also floated up above Long Fei's head. A little damage doesn't matter. But Long Fei was very unhappy. With a sudden movement of his body and a shout, he grabbed at the old man. Shwa. However, the old man's reaction was much faster than Long Fei's. He retracted his body and instantly bounced over 10 meters away, causing Long Fei to grab onto empty air. With a sweep of his right arm, he directly knocked over a killer who was still trying to stab Long Fei with all his might. Boom! At this time, the dozen or so killers quickly bounced away. The killer on the ground wanted to escape, but Long Fei caught him and threw him towards the ground. Fuck! You want to leave after beating? Lousy? Do you agree? Puffed. The assassin spat out a large mouthful of blood and let out a miserable scream, taking advantage of his illness. Long Fei wanted to take his life. His fists were like a torrential storm, crazily punching down. In less than 10 seconds, the assassin's head was exploded, and blood spilled all over the ground. Half of his body was drenched in blood. Long Fei's eyes became sinister and shouted, "Come again!" Incomparable savagery. The surrounding people were shocked once more. In their hearts, Long Fei was a madman unafraid of death. "Come again." F***CK. Long Fei burst out in vulgarities. "Come on, all of you." Extreme displeasure. It actually hit him with a bit of damage. The elder's eyes grew sinister as he said, "Brat, no matter how strong your spirit treasure is, you are only a 4-star expert. No matter how strong your defense is, you can only protect yourself. It cannot change fate. Everyone listen. Kill Lanya with all your strength. This kid, I'll deal with him." The old man's reaction was fast. His palm strike earlier had used all his strength, but he had not injured Long Fei, which meant that the protective spirit treasure on Long Fei's body was extremely powerful. However, Long Fei was not his first target. His first target in the mission was Lanya. As long as he killed Lanya, nothing would happen. As for Long Fei, what's the use of a person who only has defense and no power? What this world focused on was strength. This was Long Fei's weakness. In a split second, those assassins started to move. The old man's gaze swept across those black riders as he shouted, "I'm talking about everyone. Didn't you understand?" The disciples of the Dark Knight were also shaken, and the few leaders immediately shouted, "Black Knight, Listen up, kill, kill, kill. In that instant, over 100 of the Dark Knight disciples started to move, all of them rushing towards Lanya and the others. If they couldn't deal with Long Fei, then why couldn't they? Lei Jiu frowned as he protected Lan Ye behind his back with all his might. Even if he died, he would not let the blue flames suffer even the slightest bit of damage. MT Tai, Tai Hai, the two of you protect like flowers. Understood. They were instantly surrounded and blocked Long Fei. The old man looked at Long Fei coldly, then laughed. What's the use of having such strong defense? Kid, this world relies on strength. Even if you don't die, you won't be able to save anyone else. So, the result is still the same. You can't save them. Ha ha ha. The old man laughed sinisterly. If he wanted to protect the people around him, if he wanted to protect the people he wanted to protect, then his defense was simply impossible. Only power, as long as he had enough power. Without waiting for them to step out of the Black Knight's house, their heads were separated from their bodies. Since they wanted to kill him, then he wouldn't leave a single one alive. All must die. The old man's face was filled with shock as well. His idea was continuously locking onto Long Fei, but it disappeared in an instant. And Long Fei, who had disappeared in the mirror of the void, was completely unable to sense it. Moreover, he had no idea where Long Fei would appear from in the next second. This feeling made a chill in his heart. He knew that Long Fei had this move, but he never expected it to be so fierce. What kind of cultivation technique was this? Who was he? Could he handle it? His heart began to pound. He started to tremble when he saw the people around him falling down one by one. The Black Knight's house was now a huge killing formation. Long Fei controlled everything. At this moment, he was a god. Chapter 1692, Losing a Boss. Chapter 1692, Losing a Boss Faster and Faster. 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kill, 97 killings. Long Fei was like a ghost from 10,000 void doors. No one could stop him. The disciples of the Black Knights Guild and the mysterious assassins were all completely stupefied. His eyes flickered, and every time he sensed Long Fei's aura, his body would secretly tremble, as though he was afraid that he would be the next one to fall. This feeling was like the scythe of the god of death hanging on his neck, threatening to lose his life at any moment. Moreover, you can't run yet. The more people fled, the faster they would die. Boom. 100 slaughter. Long Fei's voice sounded out in the air, and his gaze turned to the old man. The corners of his mouth slightly curled, and he laughed. It's your turn. Shwa. His figure disappeared. The old man continuously retreated, leaning against a wall as he stared straight ahead. The divine power surged under his palm, and the moment Long Fei appeared, he would strike him with his palm. Shwa. In the next second, Long Fei appeared in front of him. The old man reacted in the blink of an eye as he released a palm strike, the powerful force striking Long Fei like a shockwave. But at this moment, Long Fei disappeared into the void door. The old man's palm struck nothing but air. But he did not relax. In half a breath of time, Long Fei appeared yet again from another direction. At this moment, the old man once again struck out with his palm. Rumble! Without waiting for the palm wind, Long Fei disappeared again. After 2 successive strikes, the old man went berserk. He shouted, "You dog, come out if you have the guts. Come out if you have the guts. What kind of hero are you hiding in the darkness? Come out if you have the guts." A cold voice sounded in his ear as he spoke. "I've always been here." I turned my body slightly, and Long Fei was standing just half a meter away to my left, and he didn't react at all. His body trembled and cold sweat poured down his back like rain. Both of his eyes trembled as he stared at Long Fei and shouted, "Die!" Both palms struck out heavily. However, Long Fei disappeared once again. Ah, ah, ah. The old man went crazy. He attacked in all directions like a madman. His left hand and his right hand shouted, "Come out! If you have the guts, come out! You son of a b asterisk tch." At this moment, Long Fei's body floated in midair. The Black Knight's guild disciples looked at the sky and at the old man. They felt their scalps go numb. Just what kind of person was Long Fei? He wasn't human at all. Right now, they were extremely afraid in their hearts. At the same time, they regretted provoking such a terrifying person. The old man also sensed Long Fei above his head. He slightly raised his eyes and shouted, "Kid, I will kill you." However, Long Fei disappeared again. When the old man's palm strike missed, the defenses in his heart completely collapsed. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly appeared and stood in front of the old man in a daze, smiling slightly, and said, "Continue, or are we not going to play anymore?" "Come again." Long Fei had been playing with him. He wasn't in a hurry to make a move. He was playing him to the point of breaking down. The elder sat paralyzed on the ground. "Kill me! Kill me!" He was very clear in his heart that the cultivation technique Long Fei cultivated was too profound, and he was simply unable to deal with it. He had greatly underestimated Long Fei. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Tell me who the master behind you is." The old man's gaze darkened as an even colder fear arose in his heart. In that instant, a sharp light flashed in his eyes. "See heaven palm." A palm struck towards Long Fei. Too fast. Long Fei did not expect the old man who was about to collapse to suddenly explode again, but he did not. Long Fei was not afraid, because he had God's armor on him. 10,000 points of defense. If he didn't have enough time to dodge, then he might as well force his way up. Long Fei's body moved. He took a step forward and shouted, "You're F asterisk asterisk king thinking too much." Boom. As the palm strike landed on Long Fei's body, Long Fei's chest slightly shook, his internal organs started to roll about, and he was forced a few steps back. However, Long Fei did not receive any substantial damage. Seeing that Long Fei's expression did not change, the old man stepped forward again and shouted, "See heaven palm." This time, it was even fiercer. Long Fei still did not dodge. Taking another step forward, he said, "Again." Rumble. Another dull sound of collision rang out. Long Fei was forced to retreat several steps, but he was still not severely injured. The old man roared again, "See heaven palm." There was no gap at all in the triple slash. When the third palm strike came out, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, and he cursed, "Are you addicted to this fight?" His body sank, taking root under his feet. He turned the power in his hands around, stared at the old man, and sent a palm strike forward. Great grief palm. Buzz. Rumble. The two palms clashed, and power continuously surged out. If it was comparing the strength of the palm, Long Fei was not his match, but Long Fei was a battle maniac, adding on the defense of the god's armor. Who was he afraid of? He struck out with his palm, and his body took a few steps back. This time, he took the initiative and struck out with his palm. Great grief palm. Boom. The elder welcomed it with both palms. The two sides clashed. Without waiting for him to react, Long Fei once again struck out with his palm. Great sorrow palm. Rumble. Great grief palm. Rumble. Great grief palm.